Alrighty, welcome to episode 144 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. According to the prominent Spanish business and finance newspaper Cinco Dias, Tesla is highly rumoured to be negotiating with Spanish authorities with a view to building a multi-billion-dollar gigafactory in the Valencia region of Spain. Tesla's self-titled North American charging standard is beginning to gain substantial momentum with the announcement by General Motors that it will be adopting the NACS charging inlet for its new vehicles from 2025, as well as providing access to Tesla superchargers for its current fleet of CCS cars early next year. Tesla has shown the wrapping potential for the Cybertruck by test driving a camouflage-wrapped prototype production unit in the streets of Palo Alto. Tesla has incrementally increased the base price of all its Australian models and variants by $400. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and welcome everyone to Ask Us Anything. As is customary, if I've got a feeling I'm going to get a pregnant pause, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in saying hello, please do so in the next 5-10 seconds. Or not. That's totally cool. That's the first time we've had a pregnant pause from the start, but it's all good. If anyone does turn up new, please do say hello a bit later on. And also feel free just to lurk, and you can put some questions in the chat. And in fact, I've got not a question, but some follow-up news from Darren. So Darren, please tell us about your lumpy dash.
I have to have a big thank you to you and the team for pushing me to go and have a chat to Tesla. I had a meeting with their service department here in WA, who are fantastic. They're just onto it. And they confirmed there was 140 plus Model Ys that showed up with a lumpy dash. So my speaker grill, for those that weren't around, my speaker at the front of the dash, just in front of the windscreen, has got undulating lumps. Sporadically appearing out of different places, and 140 plus of the Tesla Ys that came in the last batch have the same bumps. But they've assured me it will be, they've ordered the parts. The parts are on their way and they'll be replaced before the end of the month. So if anyone's got that, I would recommend having a chat to Tesla. I logged it through the app initially, but apparently the app, that's it. Yep, that's exactly it. The app lost their app has collapsed because of this. They're not capturing it, so you're going to have to contact them directly. And they've got a standalone list they're making, and they've got the parts on the way. So by the end of the month, we should have it fixed. Thank you.
Oh, that's great news, because obviously it's not fantastic when you see this on a brand new car. It's just wrong.
Yep.
But it's great that that Tesla is onto it, and thank you, Darren, for going there directly and sorting it out.
I thank you guys for the prompt. It was great.
No worries, absolute pleasure. Alrighty, so we've obviously had a few news items. One of the biggies, let me just get my little sheet of web browser, is it looks like the inevitable avalanche of the NACS, the North American charging. It's self-declared as a standard. It's not actually a standard yet, although the actual standard, one of the standards body called CharN, has actually stated that they are looking forward to it becoming a standard and for the benefits that would bring.
So are they saying that CCS will basically be phased out?
No. So standards are hardly ever rescinded. So there is a standard for the combined charging system version 1, which is, let's call it the single phase combined charging system of single phase J1772 connector at the top and the 2 DC pins underneath. That's CCS 1. And then what we have in Australia, well, and basically almost the rest of the world, is a Type 2, Meniki's Type 2 three-phase AC connector portion at the top and the two DC pins underneath. So, and for instance, in Japan, which is very much pushed by TEPCO in Japan, which is one of their, I think it's their main utility, power utility, they have CHAdeMO. So all of those systems are standards. It's just that it's highly likely in the United States, or let's call it North America, that effectively the NACS will become the winning connector and vehicle inlet, because probably all of the cars coming into the States in the next couple of years will just adopt NACS for simplicity. But you'll still have CCS1, you'll still have CHAdeMO, existing. It's just that the Tesla system will probably push out all the others and just outbreed them, basically.
Yeah. And we're unlikely to get it in Australia, aren't we? Because it's only compatible with single phase.
There's zero chance, chance, Nigel. It's something that should be made very clear. I mean, I did note, I don't know if we mentioned this last week, but Elon Musk sort of lamented that he had suggested to the Europeans that they ought to use the NACS, and they sort of very politely said, well, we already have a standard, and that's CCS2. And he kind of, I think in his tweet, he had like a sigh or something, I forget what it was. But the point is, NACS and CCS1 is only single phase. It's limited to 7.6 kilowatts. Thankfully, in Australia, we have three phase, and the connector is compatible with both single and three phase. So we've got the best of both worlds. We can play country and Western music. And, so that will never, we will never, ever, ever have NACS in Australia, ever, or in Europe, ever, unless they brought out a similarly small connector with three phase. And that's not going to happen. If you want to have a classic example of that, look at your UMCs, your universal mobile connectors, any of them that are younger than, say, Pete.
It's all over it.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
I was gonna, it's okay. It's too late. It's all right. It's all good. Yeah, show it. Go on, show it.
All right, I got rid of it. Off you go. Sorry.
No, it's too late. No. There's a technical reason why. Anyway, it's okay. Yeah, actually bring it up, because what you could do.
Give me one sec. Oh,
It's just that when you put that up, it'll then reduce our recorded size to a letterbox, but it's okay.
God.
I'll forgive you.
There we go. So
Yeah.
just
So
to show that. You talk. Yeah.
yeah. So the thing is, if you look at the, I don't know what you call it, a TriStar. It's a three-winged, three-armed Void. That's actually plastic inside the car. So you really haven't got much room to fit two more pins, because you actually have to fit two more pins to get three. Sorry. Well, you could mess. Yeah, it's just not easy. You could mess around and have. No, you need two more pins. You need a neutral and another active. So it's just not going to happen. It really isn't. Yeah, you can take it off now if you like, Pete.
And that picture's also deceptive, because CCS1 is physically taller than CCS2 because of the stupid latch on the top.
Indeed. And many of the criticisms of CCS1 don't apply to CCS2 at all, because we have the car, like Tesla's system, our cars latch on to the Type 2 connector and the CCS connector. Well, it's the same thing, basically. So it just doesn't, those objections just don't apply with the physical mechanism of the J1772/CCS1 mechanism. But hey, in America, Tesla's effectively won. Stellantis has, and I guess you could call Stellantis basically all the other car manufacturers except for the Europeans, or some Europeans. And even they've said
Toyota still hasn't.
Yeah. But they
VW.
sell like 2 cars, so who cares?
Hang on, this is the Toyota that just announced their new car that they're bringing out in 2025.
26.
2026. It's like,
Yeah.
come on.
and also the system that they've come out with a revolutionary new battery, which will allow their car to have a 1,000 kilometer range, and that it's revolutionary and we're ready in 5 years. And part of that headline is exactly the same as what was written basically 5 years ago in 2017,
Yeah.
when Toyota said that they've got a revolutionary new battery format.
That's right. In my humble opinion, and it's just my humble opinion, this is purely an exercise to the Toyota faithful to say, oh no, don't buy an EV yet. There'll be another car for your next car. So buy another Toyota that's rubbish now, and that'll tide you over until we still don't produce this product when we go out of business. But
Yeah, I was going to say Toyota equals the new Kodak.
Yeah.
well, they've had
Yes.
a car that's called the future for quite a while now, and it still isn't the future. So
Exactly. So just very quickly circling back to this NACS, since General Motors announced that they are going to follow Ford and have access to 12,000 superchargers next year with an adapter, and all their new cars will come out in 2025 with the NACS. Notable charger manufacturing companies such as Chempower, ABB, Tritium, and others, and quite a few. I think Wallbox as well. They're a big American company. ChargePoint and quite a few charge companies.
EVgo as well, that owns
EVgo. They have also subsequently announced that they're all going to provide NACS cabling and protocol for new chargers, and many of them have also said they're going to do retrofit kits where required, including Tritium. But again, we don't have to worry about that in Australia. It's just not going to come here.
Yeah, because Blink and Flow also announced they're doing it as well.
Yeah. So it's basically an avalanche.
Almost everyone. Just
we just need VW to basically announce that from 2025 they'll do the same thing, and those associated companies, sub brands, and it's all over.
Yeah,
basically,
and
then it will become a standard as it should be. So then CharIN and the standards bodies will actually ratify it as a proper standard that can be relied on. Although I dare say they might derate the official current rating, because, for instance, one thing with the CCS2 is that it's limited to 500 amps, which is why if you go to Treendale on a 350 kilowatt liquid cooled charger, or charger with liquid cooled cables, you're in a Model 3 or a Y, you'll only get about 200 kilowatts maximum because it cuts out at 500 amps. Tesla's not shy. Tesla daily jams 625 amps into basically the same CCS connector, because it's determined that it's okay, and it's designed the pins that makes it work. But the standards bodies always are conservative, and they'll always do worst case. So, but anyway, there we go.
From a strategic point of view, Harold, it's a really brilliant move by Tesla. So first of all, GM and presumably Ford aren't paying Tesla anything for the access, and GM and Ford and other drivers will have access on the same terms as Tesla, by the sounds of things. So, people are asking, what's in it for Tesla? Well, first of all, they'll get a couple of $1 billion additionally in charging revenue, which will enable them to have more chargers. But you can imagine, whether it's 3, 5, 7 years from now, or whatever the time frame is, but at some point, you're charging your Ford or your GM or whatever car, whatever other EV you have, and next to you comes a Tesla, and it charges itself, it drove there itself, and it's going to drive off by itself. And there you are thinking, what the hell am I doing, wasting my life here watching the electrons come in, when I could just have my car do this all on its own, and it's just going to be such a blatant advertisement, and there's nothing that Ford or GM will be able to do. You know.
That's right. They'll be girt by Teslas, and they'll everywhere they go, there'll be the word Tesla. So, as a logical, brand loyal Ford or GM owner, where you're going to eventually go, well, I've had enough of this. I'm going to go to the dark side and get a Tesla too.
I wonder if there's anything in the agreements that would preclude Tesla from opening up a stand, a sales stand next to each one of the chargers. Basically, a pop-up sales room.
Well, you did see, Pete. There were some photos. Was it Rivian? No, it wasn't Rivian. It was someone else.
Lucid.
They
Lucid.
did that at a supercharger.
Doing pop-up. They'd have a marquee and a pop-up thing at a supercharger location, trying to convince Tesla owners who are supercharging to come for a quick spin, and apparently with not much success.
Yeah, wonder
Was it
why.
Lucid?
Yeah,
I think it was
that's
Lucid.
Lucid. Yeah, it was Lucid. Yeah.
Alrighty.
But you sort of think Tesla owners, we're all nut jobs. We're all salesmen. So any poor Ford person pulls up next to them, they'll be like, hey, look at my car, blah, blah, blah. And look, the app works as opposed to yours.
Yeah, that's right. I guess the good thing is if you are a GM or a Ford owner and you're using their app to do supercharging and it doesn't work, you can always just open up your Tesla app and just press the button that says charge my non-Tesla EV, and then you better start a charge session that way.
Yep.
So that'll work quite well.
They're quite smart as
Sorry, I
well.
didn't quite hear that. Someone
Sorry.
was that John? Try that again, John, if you were talking.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to give them all the unpopular sites. You know, they've got 12,000. The other 12 or 10,000 will be the good ones that Tesla have got exclusive use of.
The announcement didn't sort of say there'd be any It didn't imply that it would be the majority of the 12,000. It sort of said the 12,000. So
Yeah, but that's
perhaps
not all the car, not all of them.
No, there's
in North America.
Yeah, there's about
20,000.
almost 20,000
Oh, okay.
stalls now.
The news stories that I heard were saying that it was pretty much the version 3 superchargers. And the reason for that was that the V2 ones use CAN bus, which is the CHAdeMO protocol.
Oh,
And the
okay.
V3 ones use the PLC, which is the CCS protocol. So it makes adapters easy. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but
Yeah.
that's all the stories I heard were saying.
Yeah, that's plausible, Chuck. In fact, the V2s use, I'm pretty certain they use the LIN protocol, which is
Yeah,
what
I
they. So I was just going to say that's what the destinations chargers do when they're not talking to other EVs. They use the LIN protocol, which is bidirectional down the control pilot. So, which is different to CCS's power line modem communications, which is different. So yeah, you're probably right. It's probably a physical thing, and it's quite reasonable to say, well, we're going to limit this to version 3, because as we know, version 3 does CCS natively in the rest of the world.
Actually, speaking of the rest of the world, I put an image in the chat there if you want to bring it up.
Oh, yes.
That lined up well.
Oh, this is, yes. Here we go. Oops, sorry. Let me just press the correct button.
So this is a map that I've been I've been sharing a variation of this on various forums and things the last week while all the North Americans have been saying, oh, NACS is going to be the global standard now. And I've done a few maps. This particular one is my best guess at what the current standards are worldwide. Now, there's a few caveats there, but I updated it just this week to include NACS as well as CCS one in North America there.
Oh, gotcha. Yes.
Anywhere which is blue anywhere which is solid blue is an area where Tesla uses CCS, and so I've just assumed that's the standard for that country for all EVs.
Yep.
anything with the diagonal lines, blue, countries which I scoured PlugShare and looked for pictures and tried to work out what was the most dominant. So they're the ones that are mostly CCS2. And then you've got China and South Korea and Japan that are just a bit different and have their own thing in the corner there.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, because China is definitely GBT, which is two different connectors, and it's weird because their AC connector is the reverse of the Type 2.
Yeah,
it's reverse gender, which is really weird. Which just makes it just a bit different.
Difficult. Yeah.
What are the dots, Chuck? These circles?
Oh, they're just countries which are too small to be visible unless they were big dots.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is like a standard map format that Wikipedia uses, and they've got this version with the dots. You can see Hong Kong and Macau are actually different color to mainland China. There's two little blue dots there.
Yes.
Because for some weird reason they use CCS2 and China and the rest of China doesn't. But
and one other minor wrinkle is Japan Teslas use NACS.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this one is it's the general standards used by each country, but I do have another map hidden somewhere if I can find it. Hang on. Just gonna try and find it. This is the one. I've lost it again. Hang on, I'll get there.
That's cool. While you're doing that, we'll just do a thanks to Darren, we've actually got what these things look like. So yeah, so you can see that the J1772 is this format. That's for the AC section, and then the CCS1 is just the two DC pins bolted to the bottom, as is CCS2 is just the two DC pins bolted to the bottom of the Maniki's Type 2 connector. And in fact, S and X, you'll notice that there's actually like this little teardrop. That's actually for supercharging, because Tesla used, on the old S's and X's, used a combined Type 2 which had longer pins. They're deeper than normal, so you can jam more current into them. And that's something that was going to be a standard had BMW actually gone through with it, but they pulled out at the last moment and went to CCS2. So that's a modified Type 2. Okay, Chuck, did you find that? Oh yeah, it's coming.
Yep, it's in there.
Here we go. Rightio, so there's the map there.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is Tesla land. This is Tesla land. Yeah, so Japan is likely to stay. I think Japan's mostly single phase supply.
Yes, Japan's electrical system is very similar to America's electrical system, because post World War II.
Yes, except for the 50-60 hertz thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Is that where the country's split in half?
Yeah, pretty much. The west side is one frequency and the east side is another frequency, which used to matter more than it does now.
Thankfully, all our switch mode power supplies don't care.
Yeah, that's right.
Go, Chuck.
So when I was doing this, I worked out that Tesla use GBT in one country, which is China, where they have to. They use NACS in 5 countries, and 3 which are in North America. And they use CCS in 41 countries or something like that. So if people have to do with Americans on forums saying there should be a global standard, you should say, well, CCS is so far the standard that Tesla chooses in almost every country it goes to. So perhaps you Americans could change to CCS, to CCS2.
And they'll change the metric.
Because that's right. And change to metric while you're there.
Yeah.
And in fact, the point is CCS2 or Type 2 is compatible with single phase systems. It's just got a couple of superfluous pins. So if you wanted a truly completely global system, it would be CCS2.
Yeah. And you can explain that to people, but yeah.
When did the use conform? Even the gallon is wrong. So they couldn't even use the imperial gallon. and if they talk in imperial, it's feet. They don't even use yards and all these others. They always stand alone with their system.
Yeah, it's just God bless them. And I think there was something where in aviation they use knots, which is nautical miles per hour, feet, and Celsius.
That's right.
So the speed units are inconsistent with their distance units, and their temperature units are inconsistent. Well, it's not imperial, so it's just all over the place. But anyway,
And they also use football fields for area and washing machines for volume.
What about hamsters for volume?
Oh yes, hamsters.
That's right.
Hamsters
You
for
can
factories.
fit 1.9 billion hamsters in Gigatex or whatever.
Chuck, I was just going to say that's a politically complicated map you've just uploaded there.
Which one?
It's not just an electrically complicated map; it's a politically complicated map.
Is it the last one or the Tesla one?
The most recent one.
Yes, this one. Yes.
No.
Oh no.
There's another one there.
What the future's going to look like?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's.
So this is Chuck's. Oh, so this is Chuck's prediction. Chuck says, all of Africa, yes, I agree. India, yes.
Yeah.
All the rest of Asia might as well, because Thailand has. Indonesia will.
Yeah. So
And South America. Ooh.
yeah, we're not sure about South America because there hasn't really been much EV action there. But looking at what was already installed, there's lots of CCS2 already in the southernmost countries.
But yes, those Eastern Asian things might provoke some political backlash rather than some engineering backlash.
Right. Well, China and Japan they are actually working on a combined standard, like merging their two systems.
Yeah.
So that part is actually in their plans. As to what where are we? As to what South Korea is going to do, I mean, it's not really practical for them to be the only country that uses CCS1.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe they'll go CCS2, although they're kind of flanked by purple countries there.
And the thing with CCS1 to CCS2 is its protocol is completely identical, absolutely identical. It's just a physical manifestation of the actual connector itself. So an adapter is eminently usable and a simple, basic, bog standard pin to pin adapter, which you can get quite cheaply. That's very interesting, Chuck. That is really interesting.
So that's how bored I was this week. There we go.
Yeah, no, it's a cracker map, and you should be proud of it. I like it.
It's good work.
I really do.
Yeah.
Go on.
Go on.
I was going to say you haven't filled in Greenland, and because that used to be a protectorate of Denmark.
Denmark, yeah.
I dare say Greenland, if ever an EV lands on it, will be a blue. It'll be a blue state.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, probably most likely they might be a bit close to Canada. Have to see who wins there. I don't know. I actually noticed there was lots of CCS2 in Russia. So I thought that's probably CCS2, but there's also lots of other random things. So who knows I left that one blank. Didn't want to get involved in that.
Yes, let's not touch the Russians. They might get angry.
You'll go Taiwan, but you're not touching Russia.
Very good. Cool. Awesome. Lovely work, Chuck, as usual. Now, let's have a quick squiz. We have got a little bit of news with the WIEV network. So for those of us that went to the EVA meeting last night, one update we've got, which is actually great news, is that the Lancelin site is planned to be operational prior to the commencement of the school holidays in July. So basically by the end of June, end of this month, which is actually quite significant because it means that virtually all standard range, Teslas and many other EVs will be able to get to Geraldton without having to top up at Jurien Bay. It's about 300 odd kilometres from Lancelin to Geraldton. So that's great if you've got holidays planned in Kalbarri or further north. You'll be able to charge up at Lancelin.
Oh, that's good.
So that's really good. Unfortunately, there's still confirmation that at this stage, Jurien Bay is still months away, probably August, due to Western Power installation issues. And we also learnt that Broome is having an official opening on the 19th of July. So for any intrepid Tesla owners or other EV owners, that's the date to get up to Broome.
If you can hypermile it along the Pilbara.
I was going to say maybe fill your boot with EcoFlows or something, you know, and then just stop and charge it and keep going.
Well, you need to fill your boot with a fistful of dollars so that you can beg the people at 80 Mile Beach or Sandfire Roadhouse to allow you to charge in any meaningful way. And then you can do it.
I think Sandra said that Sandfire was going to go in sometime in July. So
no,
Did she?
not Sandfire. No.
Something else on the way to Broome.
Exmouth. Exmouth was on the coming soon list. Sorry, under construction. Was Exmouth.
So what was the one where she said, you know, because the question was, is going to be ready before the Broome launch? And she said, yeah, who knows if it's done before the, you know.
Oh, Carnarvon. Sorry,
Carnarvon, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Carnarvon is physically largely complete, but again, waiting for connection, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
No, I think it's actually waiting for its shade structure, because they're basically building a shade structure which becomes the bollards. Like they're using the legs of the shade structure. In fact, I'll bring up that document.
Rob had a picture of Carnarvon from his road trip, which looked quite promising. If you haven't seen Rob's road trip,
no, I'll bring. That's on Facebook, isn't it, Ken?
I'll find it. Hang on, it's on a mapping.
It's on
site.
Twitter.
Yeah, but he's also got a map on Polar Stars. Which
yes, too. He tweeted that out, didn't he?
Yeah. I'm just finding the link. Hang on.
Yeah, that's no worries. Let me just get the. Here we go. Project update. We'll go PowerPoint. Oh, sorry. PDF. Control L. So here it is. So this was the presentation that was given, a joint presentation a couple of weeks ago by Synergy and Horizon. So they're actually getting shade structures like this on this rendering. And I think there was a photo a little bit further down the presentation that had.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, this is Broome, and these, in fact, the photo that Sandra showed us yesterday actually shows the shade sail over this structure, and then these bollards will be removed because they will no longer be necessary, because the shade structure becomes the protection because it's got substantial legs. So Carnarvon, have you got that link? If you find the tweet to it, can you please link it in the chat?
I've got the Polar Steps link, and
awesome. I'll just I'll grab that.
And the Carnarvon photo is
hovering over Carnarvon, I dare say. Yeah. So
if I just do this.
Inland Pilbara. Come on, that's a bit slow. Here we go. Okay, so Carnarvon will be somewhere here, no doubt.
I can upload the photo, Rob's photo. Hang on, where's chat gone? Yeah, just keep scrolling and it'll load the pictures as you go. But
overland. So how far is Carnarvon? My ignorance is.
It's on the coast north of there where it says Carnarvon.
Yeah, but weirdly he doesn't It doesn't show.
No, but I'm just uploading his image to the chat of
Yeah,
Carnarvon.
okay, cool. This app's a bit.
Yeah, it is. You have to. It's kind of designed for you to scroll and have the pictures roll by. It's kind of cool when you're trying to follow a trip. Anyway, there's that picture's now in the chat
Got it.
of
Here we go.
Carnarvon. Yeah, that's the one.
That's it there. So look, it's I literally I'm quite confident that what they're waiting for is the shade structure,
Yep.
because I dare say this thing here is one of the pads for it, and this will be another pad for it, and there'll be another one there and another one you can't see in the photo. And they did mention that one of the purposes of the shade sail or the shade structure was obviously physically protecting the units, but also providing lighting. So there is actually lighting inside the shade structure and also CCTV. And I think they're reluctant to operationalize these until the shade structure, including lighting and CCTV, is commissioned. So we were told yesterday that that would occur, it was due to occur mid to late July, which means if you want to go to Broome, you're best just overnight at Broome, at Carnarvon, sorry. And then you can just go to the Carnarvon motel, which this is courtesy of another of Rob's photos. There are 2 destination charges that you can just charge overnight, which work perfectly well. But then the biggest problem is when you look on PlugShare, you've got to bridge the gap between basically Port Hedland and, well, Broome. And there is basically, if you go, well, doing Tesla's kind of pointless, or Type 2, but if you go 3-phase, the prime locations, Pardue is off the map. 80 Mile Beach, the comment on PlugShare is quite old, and it says, you know, it's a year old, and they're trying to sell a business and they're not that happy. You know, Steve Burrell basically said that they weren't allowed to charge, and they were told they weren't set up for it, according to Steve. And it looks like, you know, 80 Mile Beach, even though I think 80 Mile Beach, actually I think this is right, Chuck, that's slated for the NRMA project. I think that was actually a location, or was it something else? 80 Mile Beach was definitely mentioned by one of the charging operators as being a location. But basically 80 Mile Beach is difficult, and Sandfire, that pin's gone.
Yeah, it's disappeared. I noticed that.
Oh, wow. So it has actually gone. It's gone. Let's just try that, or if you show incompatible plugs, you can do caravan main socket. Oh, wow. Wow, that's disappointing. So basically Sandfire, which is about here, is gone. So it just makes it really hard. So you've got to probably go to 80 Mile Beach and beg to charge there, and then you could make it to Portsmouth Caravan Park or possibly Broome. I think 80 Mile Beach. Actually, James, can you please let me know how much 80 Mile Beach is to 80 Mile Beach Caravan Park to Portsmouth Caravan Park? I think it's on the order of 400 Ks, which is doable. But yeah, so getting to Broome on the 19th of July is not going to be easy. And I think anyone who is a seasoned grey nomad, that's kind of peak season. So it's going to be full of caravans anyway. So if you bring your flash Tesla, even if you try and get a powered site, you're probably going to be difficult. And then they may not let you even use the 15 amp because, I don't know.
Well, generally you've got
It's
to
about 250 kilometres, Harold.
Is that from the caravan park?
Yeah, between the two, between 80 Mile and Portsmouth Caravan Parks, 253.
Oh, well, that means you can make it all the way to Broome then. Gee, I don't. Yeah, okay. All right, I'll take your word for it, Pete. Actually, James just. Oh, what did you? And James was just saying that from Geraldton to Lancelin is 303 k's. So again, that just impresses the fact that Lancelin now makes Geraldton so much more doable. So thanks for that, James. I'm just scrolling down the messages. And oh yes, you're right, 253 k's. Oh, which means you can make it to Broome. Okay, so you need to be able to charge at the 80 Mile Beach Caravan Park. But it might take a day or so to replenish your charge, or just make sure you fully charge at Port Hedland. And in fact, that's not easy either, because there's really nothing at Port Hedland to charge, unfortunately. So yeah, it's going to be difficult. But anyway, that was the news, 19th of July. And there is going to be an opening in Albany, but that's a private event. So Sandra didn't publicise the date of that, because it's a political opening with invited guests. And that's to celebrate the opening of Williams, Albany, and Manjimup, and Walpole. There was a slight delay for the opening of Walpole. It was hoped to be finished by late this month, but it looks like it's going to be another couple of weeks later. So Michelle, unfortunately, it's going to be just a little bit longer. But
for my own personal charger.
Yes, exactly. And it's in a great spot, and no doubt you've seen it. So all the line markings are done.
Yeah, everything is there. It's like every morning I'm looking at it. Yeah.
They hit an issue with the switchboard. I think she mentioned. Harold.
Yes. Yeah. It was with the switchboard. There were issues. There seem to be often issues with the switchboards, depending on which inspector from which which depot of Western Power inspects which switchboard. So it just depends on what you get on the day.
And nothing surprises me, considering they told me that I wouldn't be able to charge my Tesla there.
Right. Yes.
I know.
Should be done by. I think she mentioned it should still be done by the end of July, though.
End of July.
Yes. No, it'll be probably in the middle of July, middle to end.
Yeah.
What it basically is they weren't permitted to energize because it didn't pass some thing.
Inspection.
So then they have to make good and then get a re-inspection. And once that's been booked and done, then it can be energized and then commissioned. And having been to several of the commissioning sessions, they've worked out how to get the commissioning down fairly quickly these days. So it can be commissioned in just a few hours.
Yeah, cool.
So it doesn't take long. And the great thing is, Synergy's policy is once the site has been commissioned, they liven it up and make it accessible to everyone. So they're not going to wait for like a grand opening or an official opening or any special date or anything like that. As soon as it's possible to be used, then it will be made publicly accessible.
Yeah. Oh, no. One of the guys that was working on it about a month ago, I stopped in there, I was talking to him, and he said that it wasn't going to be any good to me because that particular station wouldn't be able to charge Teslas.
Oh,
and
right.
like, you know what? I'm just not even going to have this discussion.
No, there's not a lot of point, is there?
No.
No, you just go, that's cool, mate. I'll sort myself out. It's all good.
Yeah.
Now just got to turn this on because James just sent me something. Oh. Is this Portsmouth? Oh, I bet it is too. Very good, James. I never even did this myself, as in took a video of it. Oh, it just crashed. Sorry. Not your car, James, but this is the access road. Oh, that was short and sweet.
This is the road to Portsmouth Caravan Park.
Yes, a very nice road it is.
That'd be awesome on Uber turbines.
Ken, I'm going to find out in a couple of months. Possibly twice.
It's funny that road. I did it. I think it was about 8 o'clock at night or 7:30 at night, so it was pitch black, and I just couldn't find the right speed or the right path. It was just everything was vibrating like crazy.
There probably isn't one, Pete.
Yeah.
Thing is, you can see on the side, this is a hard section, which is usually good. And then sometimes there's like soft bits which aren't corrugated, which are also usually good. But then you'll get potholes and stuff that are pretty bad. And oh yeah, it's cool.
It's good fun.
It's good fun. It is good fun.
It goes for a while. It doesn't look that long on the map, but because you've got to, depending on how fast you go, but it was night time, so I didn't want a route to jump out, so I was going extra slow. So it felt like it was going on forever.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Guys, can I ask, what's the there's a gravel road that I can travel on to get to Walpole from where I am, but it can get really corrugated, and I'm really iffy about driving my Model 3 down there. What are they like with gravel?
Well, there's a Model 3 that made it from Perth to Sydney for the Perth to Sydney Marathon, and about 50% of that was gravel and off-road and
underwater.
And yes, and even snow at one stage. So, yeah, look, I mean, it was a performance, so it was a four-wheel drive, but and I think it was. Yeah, so it had custom suspension, but look, they're pretty good.
Yeah, I've come from driving a Troopy and a Hilux to a Model 3. So.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, you're not going to get anywhere near the clearance, and
no,
you've got range. Have you?
Pardon?
Is yours a rear-wheel drive or
long range? Yeah.
Oh, long range. Oh,
yeah.
That's great. So you'll have the 2 motors, so four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So, right.
Yeah.
It'll
so
eat
you
it.
reckon it's okay to be driving on this gravel road?
It's completely up to you.
Yeah.
Depends, on your comfort level and.
Yeah.
I've had no problems on gravel. The only issue I've had occasionally is the corrective steering will follow ruts and kind of do weird stuff. But just apart from that, they handle gravel just fine.
I get more worried about it, like the road just shaking the shit out of the car. Yeah.
You can see this is one of the sections of road that this car actually went on. So it's no stranger, and that's a performance Model 3.
Love it.
And there's actually, it's also good in the rain. So
well, we're pretty used to that down here in Walpole.
this is one little sample if I get to play. And it's a lot heavier than it looks, because cameras always downplay things.
Yeah.
But just go for it. Go for it, Michelle.
The irony here is I was just typing the question asking everyone, has anyone driven through standing water?
Yep.
And it's
yep.
You just play the clip.
The freeway was it was a river the other day, and it was hilarious because all the petrol cars were trying to get out of the way, get in the other lane, and I just stayed in it and just, and I've got a performance 3. Nice. So it was just going right over. It was awesome.
Thank you.
I went to a restaurant the other day, used my navigation, and it took me on a track. So I did a bit of bush bashing, and that took me through some black mud and water, which was pretty cool.
Oh, goodness. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, look, sorry about that. It's just a car. So
yo, what's up?
It's gonna. Sorry, that was one of the Tok Eva racing videos. I hadn't had it muted. it's just a car, so it can do anything. You know, if any sedan can do the same thing, then so can a Tesla, and probably more comfortably.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about dust and stuff going into your engine and all that sort of stuff. So,
One thing that concerned me when I was out on this track was that if I didn't know about if I needed to be pushed. So what do you do in that situation if you need a push or a tow?
we got a long range, so you got 4-wheel drive. So what you would do, or if you need to get a tow, you just
It's a tow hook at the
where's
front.
the tow hook? That's in the front, isn't it?
It's the front.
It's in the front.
It's in
It-
front.
No. The front. Yeah, the tow.
The actual
is in the front.
hook, the thread
Yeah.
hook is in the front.
Plugs at the
and
front.
Yeah,
Of
and-
it. Yeah.
But
So you
it's
just take
not
the-
like we've got neutral to put it in to tow it.
yes, you do. No, you do.
Yeah, you
so
do.
you have tow mode.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. Tow mode.
Tow
And you
mode. It's
al-
called tow mode. Sorry, it's literally called tow
Yeah.
mode.
I
which-
think it's under
Okay.
service.
It's under
Which-
service.
Yeah, towing.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And don't forget, you also have slip start. Is it called slip start?
Yes.
Paul?
Yeah.
So that just allows you, if you start getting bogged a little bit, just allows you to, just pairs back the torque a little bit and allows you to get out of the rut a little bit more gently without spinning your wheels.
Okay, cool.
My worry with the standing water was the water ingress into the battery compartment, and how the warranty is affected by this.
It's sealed. You'll be fine.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Now something else. We're getting back to road trips and that, and of course, one question is at the moment, how do you get even to Carnarvon, say? Well, and thanks to James for putting this up, it is only 425 k's from Northampton to Carnarvon. So it means in a long range car and even a standard range car, if you take it easy and be careful, you won't have to charge up at Billabong Homestead, although you can on the way if you want to. Or
Billabong's
need to.
got to be another NRMA spot, isn't it? From memory.
I believe so, yes. Yeah. Yep. So, well, the NRMA is basically going to every single location that the WAEV network is, except for Wooramul. No. It's a town that starts with W that's at the turn-off of Derby and Fitzroy Crossing.
Woollare.
Woollare. Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Yeah, Woollare. So that's the only non-duplicated site. Well, one of the only non-duplicated sites, as
It's
has been
actually
announced.
It's actually a really handy one, that one. Probably the most
It is.
out of the whole network for us.
Yeah, well, to be honest, because Derby is actually a 70-kilometre diversion from the turn-off. So it may be actually more worthwhile hypermiling the 400 k's between Broome and Fitzroy Crossing, rather than actually spending 70 kilometres to get fast charging at Derby. You just got to run your numbers on it. Especially if you can do roughly the speed limit, or maybe 100 k's an hour, you might as well then just go straight to Fitzroy Crossing if you're going east, or Broome if you're going west. Because sometimes you can go quicker if you go a bit slower, if you've got a diversion.
Sorry.
Yep, go on, Darren.
A newbie question. What is hypermiling?
Oh, well, it's slowing down to get better range. So for roughly every 10% that you slow down, you'll gain 14% range compounding. The empirical formula that I came up with is the difference in speed raised to the power of 1.2, which is just a really weird number, but it works. But roughly it's 14% compounding for every 10% that you save that you reduce in speed.
I'm loving the math, by the way. I appreciate that.
It was just something I was kind of motivated to do it because I planned to bridge a gap in my old Model X that was 471 kilometers in a car that could never do that. So I had to try and work out whether it was even physically possible. And I was just bashing at the maths, and I was looking at a few Bjorn Nyland videos from a few years ago, and he does a lot of comparisons. He does a 90 kilometer stretch of range or efficiency, and a 120 kilometer, I think, at the same stretch of road. And he did it in like a BMW something. And when I was playing with the maths, this difference raised to power 1.2 worked to the watt hour, like spot on, absolutely spot on.
Okay.
So, and it seems
Speed
to
to the
roughly
1.2.
apply to most cars.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, 14% for every 10% slow down in speed. So when you hypermile, so this thing between Tennant Creek and Camberwell, I did the first 50 k's at 60 k's an hour, the next 50 k's at 65, and the next 371 kilometers at 70 k's an hour, and made it with 15 k's left.
Wow. Thank you.
And once you go past Barclay Homestead, which is roughly halfway, you are literally beyond the point of no return. So you just got to keep going.
It sounds like there's a Hypermile app there.
Yeah.
Just suggesting.
Yeah. I did write my own app just to analyze the battery a bit better and give me a glide slope, but it's just too hard to replicate it and publish the app because it's just too rough.
Just in case. No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I mean, I could dob Ken in to polish it and publish it and get all the glory, but I don't think I think Ken's just shaking his head because it's just not worth it.
Very handy. It was very handy on the trip, I must say.
Oh goodness! I've just been googling. Someone mentioned EV battery storage, Evo something. Someone mentioned
and was it EcoFlow or something?
EcoFlow. That was the yes. You mentioned. I've just been looking at EcoFlow. Is there a battery that we recommend as jerry can?
No, because EcoFlow is rather heavy because it uses vanadium. No, bromine, something flow batteries.
So the battery, the weight of the battery is going to negate any benefit from charging it later on, because you're carrying that weight along with you.
No, if you had a trailer, if you towed a trailer and you had a 100 kilowatt hour pack, the problem is you then have to stop you can't charge your car while it's moving. Tesla stopped that being able to be done probably 8 years ago. So for safety reasons, so you don't drive off with the charge cord still attached to the charger.
I'm just thinking of the mass of the battery in the trunk or frunk.
No, you're not gonna carry. No, Darren, you're not going to be carrying a battery. It's just not worth it. If, for instance, if you've got a Powerwall, it's 13 kilowatt hours, and then you're going to have to. You can only discharge at 7 kilowatts peak. If you could even get something to make it work, maybe more like 5 kilowatts. So you're going to spend 2 hours by the side of the road as a jerry can. There's no gap in Australia, except for Pardue, where you need it. You don't need a let's call it a backup battery or a
that's what
jerry
I was worried
can
about.
battery.
I'm thinking putting a petrol EV in the back of the car, a petrol Jenny in the back of the car just in case. But I'm not doing that. I'm not going.
No, it's too dangerous. You don't want to have volatile organic substances in the back of your Tesla. It's just you have a crash and it'll catch on fire and stuff.
In terms of the battery, just to put it into perspective, the weight of the battery in your car is something like 800 kilos. So
I appreciate it. I'm an UV user, and my range anxiety went off the scale this week.
I'm hearing you.
The best way to overcome that is just do a few trips, especially if you do anything down south where it says spend 15 minutes at Eton or 25 minutes at Margaret River or X minutes at Williams at the supercharger. Just do that, because that'll get your stripes up, and also have a look at when you navigate to a location. Oh, but do be careful, and this applies to everyone. If you navigate to anywhere, let's say north or east of Perth, and even perhaps south, just be careful your car doesn't lead you and do stupid things such as if you live in the southern Perth suburbs, it tells you to go to the Karrinyup supercharger and then go towards Albany, because that's just stupid, because you're gonna waste time. And even if you're charged for 100% at the supercharger, by the time you get back past where you were at home, you'll have less charge in your battery than when you started. So unfortunately, Tesla at the moment is very supercharger oriented or centered. So what you do is when you first navigate, keep an eye to see if it looks like it's going to a supercharger. You might then have to just click on a button in the navigate section that says remove charging stops, and then that'll direct you directly to your destination.
I've actually had it change en route. I was actually heading south, and then I just wasn't paying attention, and it recalculated. And then I got to a junction. I was like, "Why is it telling me to go this way?" And then I literally hadn't even noticed it recalculate. So I found out the hard way.
Thank you. I'll do that. Thank you so much.
As a data point, I reckon it's better since version 11, and version 11 is the one that will recalculate in flight, where version 10 didn't. It just decided, and then you had to. So, but yeah, it works pretty well.
Thank you.
Now James has just kindly sent it's a YouTube short of a Model X going through water. So I might as well have a look at this just for entertainment purposes.
Tesla Model X Plaid through water trying to evacuate from Hurricane Ian about 3 months ago, and a lot of people are worried about the lasting effects of water on an electric vehicle or a Tesla. So here's the facts. Since then, I have gone on many road trips. I've supercharged along the way. Here's me supercharging in Wesley Chapel. Here's Delray Beach. Here I made it to the Keys. Here I made it to Jacksonville. I've kind of been everywhere in Florida lately. Also, too, I did get the bumper fixed back in Sarasota, so that's all taken care of now. There's basically no visible damage that this car was through water at all. Here is the vehicle in the Orlando airport. Here is me going across Alligator Alley, and finally made it to Fort Lauderdale. As you can see, the car is perfectly fine. It performs perfectly fine. There's no signs of it catching on fire or blowing up. It performs just like a Model X Plaid should. I drove my Tesla Model X.
There you go.
Is that burnt orange colour?
It is a bit burnt, I must say. It absolutely is. It's a shame that Damon isn't here. But anyway. And look, pro tip, the guy waded through water. He went too fast and it pulled his rear bumper off because he was going too quickly. And you don't have to go quickly through water.
No, you take your time. I think Peter has a question. I think he's got his hand up.
Yeah, if I could.
Yes, Peter.
Yeah, I had a phone call from Harry at the Tesla shop today in Perth. They offered me because I got a long-range Model Y on order that I haven't got a VIN number for yet. They offered me the high performance for 101,000. I'm just wondering about the pros and cons of whether I should stick with the long-range model. I don't know whether there's more updated stuff on the one coming, or I'm just trying to get a bit of an idea of what's the general consensus.
Can I just first say hi, Peter, and yes, another Roy Hill Tesla.
Yeah, I'm in my room at Roy Hill. I knock off in 20 minutes. I'm in bed.
Good man. I know. I can see the. Are you going to put it on a novated lease?
No, because I'm retiring in January and February after Gina's birthday, and she gives me 100K.
Wicked. Okay. No, all right. Then it's not relevant. Well, it's not relevant. Yeah, because you, I think it would qualify if you went for the long range, but not for the performance. But anyway, yeah, I'll let others speak.
The performance in the white with black seats is about $1,000 away from being eligible for a novated lease, but it doesn't matter to you. It is a big discount. It's with the performances, it's something like a little bit over $7,000. So it is a big discount. To play devil's advocate, there is a reason for it. it's very likely that the new Model Ys will come with hardware fork. But who knows? This is just speculation. The difference between a performance and a long range is, you get bigger wheels, the performance sits a little bit lower. You get track mode, the car's obviously much faster. But apart from that, and then you get the spoiler and, a few aesthetic things. But apart from that, there isn't a huge difference. But yeah, the performance is very heavily discounted. I've never seen Tesla discount cars as much as the performances are being discounted at the moment.
I thought it might have been because people have cancelled orders to get the long range.
That's my suspicion. Yeah, I suspect they've got a number of performance cancellations to switch to long ranges. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. Because if you're a business owner, a small business owner, or interested in a novated lease, the long range Model Y is compelling compared to the performance, because the performance just doesn't qualify. Now, as far as differences, if you have a look at this tweet from the club, Rob Dean and I did a side-by-side comparison, and in fact, in a subsequent tweet, you can actually see just how well these trips were driven. But basically, Rob Dean got a set of 4, they're actually called Apollo rims with Gemini wheel caps. And what we did was drove 2 performance Ys simultaneously from Byford to Williams and back. And effectively, there was a 12% worsening or a 12% higher consumption or less efficiency using the factory Model Y Performance Uber Turbine wheels and tyres. So these are the 2 cars. They're both performance cars. They're both identical except for their wheels and tyres. So the one downside is that I've had a Model Y, a standard Model Y, standard range Model Y, and at 100%, in fact, anyone who has a Model Y in the room will attest to this, at 100% charge, which is what you do on a standard range Model Y, you get it started at 430, now it's 428 kilometers of range. In my performance Model Y, unmodified, it's got a bigger battery pack, costs a lot more money. I get 428 kilometers of range at 90%, which is what you normally charge your car at daily, every day. That's what you should charge it at, no greater than 90% normally. So if you compare your ordered long range Model Y, you'll get 12% more range on it than you would if you upgrade to the performance Model Y with the different wheels and tires. But you get but you get a huge change in performance. So if you like to enjoy the performance of cars, then the Performance Y really does deliver. So if you look, the difference in range is immaterial around town and throughout WA, given that in less than 12 months, the WA EV network will cover everywhere from Perth to Kununurra, Perth to Eucla. So range doesn't matter when you've got fast DC chargers. It makes zero difference. It's just a matter of whether you like the look of the car, whether it's got the colours that you want, that the inventory car, and there's a small price difference, but you get a huge boost in performance.
Yeah, they've got because I ordered a white colour car with the white interior, and they've got the high performance with what I ordered. But I'm just humming and hawing.
I think it's this one. Did you get black and white interior, or did you get just black interior?
White interior.
White.
Oh, white. Okay, it's this car right here. So it's still available. And
yeah, they rang me today. They rang me. I didn't ring them.
$101,824. Drive away, no more to pay. Look, it's a great price, and
great price.
It does 0 to 100 in 3.7 seconds.
What's the long range?
can I bark in here? Because I've got a performance Model Y, and I may have got the long range if it was available, but I put 19-inch wheels on it as soon as I got it. And I mean, I've seen lower consumption in my Model Y than I've ever seen in my Model 3 Performance. I mean, it got down to 112 watt hours per kilometre for one drive I did.
Yep.
And I've
That's
never
really
seen it.
good.
So it's averaging out about 145. Lifetime, it's about 150. And my Model 3 Performance on 18-inch wheels was 156. So, but I haven't done any country trips. So it seems to be very economical on these on my 19-inch wheels. They're 21. And my wheels are 8 kilograms lighter than the stupid Uber turbines that come with the Performance. They're stupid wheels, in my opinion. They just don't do anything better. They're heavy, they rupture, they're just stupid wheels. Anyway, people like the look of them, but I don't.
They do
I've
look
actually got
nice.
some hubcaps that look the same to go on the 19-inch wheels for the long range. I've already got them in the mail. But I can always
yes.
sell
You
them.
might be able to get someone who likes the big Uber turbines to swap with you.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking about. Well, I'm still haven't made my mind up whether to accept the offer or I haven't accepted it yet. I was going to offer them, tell them I'll give them 97 or 98 and leave them, chuck the ball back in their court.
You won't get anywhere with that.
No.
I've got fixed prices, and the pricing is set from over east, so there's nothing WA can do about the pricing.
Okay.
No, there's no.
How much
That's a good
you want
price.
to pay for the speed? How much does the acceleration matter?
Well, that's right, because I got an Audi and that goes fast enough.
Well, so what you're looking at here is
That's
these
a
are two
huge
cars. There's 101,000. There's a $10,000 difference between these two cars.
Yeah.
Right. So, but you've got a 1.3 second difference in the 0 to 100, and that does make a difference.
That's huge.
That is a huge difference.
Yeah.
And look, the range, that's not quite 12%. This forget about the 533 Ks, it's fictitious. Forget about the 514 Ks, it's just fictitious. You just don't get that driving around in the country. Around the city you will, sort of, but not around the country. But your decision is 1.3 seconds and nicer looking rims worth $10,000.
But he was talking about the Model Y long range as the option, not the rear wheel drive.
Oh, sorry.
That is the long.
That is a long range.
Yeah, that is long range.
That is a long range on
Because
the right. That
rear
is a long
wheel's
range.
6 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's,
wow.
that's the long range. That's
Do you-
a long range.
Oh, wow.
You know,
That's
with
nice.
long range, do you
Yeah.
get a performance boost like you do with the Model
Yeah,
3?
you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can pay, I think it's about 3 or 3.5 grand that you get
$3,000.
half a second off. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll
when-
just stick to the long range. I don't know. I haven't got a VIN number yet, but I'm just tossing it around with you guys to the pros and cons. But for the extra 10 grand or 8 grand, whatever it is, for 1.3 seconds, I don't think it's valid.
But
Justifiable.
also, Peter, what some of the guys there were saying was that you can actually pay. There's like a software unlock you can pay for 3 or 4 grand, and that will give you a boost. So that's probably the most money efficient way to get the most performance is to just buy the long range, and then whenever it's right for you and you've got the cash, drop it on the performance boost, and that will get you most of the way to the performance anyway.
I'm not too fussed about the performance because it's going to go faster than my current car, and that goes fast.
Oh, you always need more power.
I give the cops a slip going to Albany the other week.
I drove my Tesla.
That was a long story, a funny story. I was racing with an Volvo, and the cop came around the other corner. I ducked up into the Williams CBH and hid. I was doing about 130k or something.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
Since we're online.
Without admitting anything formally.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
But yeah, so that's your decision to make, is whether you think $10,000 is worth the 1.3 seconds. I mean,
Yeah, I've already
don't
made my
discount the
decision.
1.3 seconds. It feels a lot more than it sounds, but Or just stick with your guns, wait till August, and you will get your car, and it'll be awesome.
Well,
I'm going to wait. I just thought I'd toss it around because I did hear someone saying something about all-wheel drive and all. I haven't got my head around all that yet. With I don't know whether that.
No, they both have it. They both have all-wheel drive.
Okay.
They're both four-wheel drive. What I would suggest is go to the dealership, take a performance Model Y for a spin. They'll let you drive it around for half an hour completely by yourself. There won't be anyone in the car with you. And then jump into Model 3 long range, take that for a drive, and then you'll get a feel for the difference in the 1.3 seconds.
Well, I've test driven the high performance because I didn't have the other one in the long range available. So
yeah,
I'm not rated 1.3 seconds.
That's why I said Model 3, but I think the Model 3 long range is faster than the Model Y long range. So if anything, the difference will be bigger. So
I'm not too concerned about a second or two because they go quick enough.
Peter, just one bit of advice is don't say that until you've taken both for a drive. And then if you still think that 1.3 seconds doesn't make a difference, fair enough. But yeah, take them both for a drive, and I dare to say you might change your mind.
Fair enough. I'm in Port Hedland at the minute, but I'll be back in 5 days' time.
Or recognise those lights.
Yeah, Richard.
Give it a try and just see.
Be careful though, because I wish I'd never driven the Model 3 Performance when I took Gerard out in it, because now it's made my Model S look slow.
Yeah, I thought Gerard today. He's at work.
I really didn't think performance would factor into my thoughts about a car either. But I'll tell you what, living down here on these country roads, when I want to pull out and pass, no issues.
That's what I'm talking about.
Such a big difference.
Oh, it's awesome fun.
Yeah. And it's just so safe. I drove a bloody ice car the other day. My daughter came over with the Renault, which is a nice little car. Man, I hated it. I felt so unsafe driving that car.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is yours a performance, Michelle?
No, it's long range.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're in really windy, bushy roads down here. And in the past, until I had the Tesla, I would never have passed a car between Bow Bridge and Walpole, pretty much. Now I just do it without even thinking.
You can pass anywhere. That's right.
Absolutely. It's just mind blowing.
And the long range 3 does 0 to 104 sorry, I'll get the train up. Does 0 to 104.4 seconds.
Yeah.
So it really goes.
I love putting people in my car and saying, just put your head back and get a feel of this.
Once you're doing 70 or 80 Ks, the long range and the performance are identical. You see a drag race, the performance jumps out of the blocks and then they just stay the same all the way.
You're right.
When you're overtaking it, it's the same as my car. It's just the same.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's off the mark is the big difference. And Peter, maybe you can take a Model Y standard range for a drive as well. A rear drive, and just compare, the speed between them. The long range will be somewhere in between the standard range and the performance. I would take them all for a drive, and
I'll look into that when I get back. I get back in next Tuesday, so I've got till the end of the month to make a decision.
The thing is, Tesla will be quite motivated to quit those cars by June 30. Yep. So it probably wouldn't help. Look, you can try. Just offer a couple of grand less and see if they take it. It's possible. Or they might ring you back on the 28th of June or something. And then say, hey, okay, we'll do it for X price. And one advantage you do have is that the 30th of June is actually a Friday. So it means that you've got several working days to negotiate before the cutoff. Because literally, American companies live and die on quarterly results. And even though Tesla is unwinding some of this quarterly rush, they still are very motivated to get rid of cars that are in stock by the end of that quarter. So they may be prepared to come down another grand or two. Who knows? So,
I left a message for him to call me back. I was just going to offer him 98, but I just, like I was saying before, I was just one of the upgrades from the ones that are coming in August.
No one knows, to be honest. Look, there's a lot of speculation, or not just speculation, but there's a lot of evidence that says that Tesla is redesigning or rejigging the Model 3, which is not the Model Y. But there's no evidence that they're also doing the Model Y at the same time. There's no evidence in any part of the world that that's happening. So you can. This has been mentioned many times in Ask Us Anything. You can always play the game of let's just wait to see what comes out in the next few months or next month or next 6 months or next year. But it's a game that you'll either means you'll never get a car ever because you'll just keep waiting, or you'll do all the planning you think you can do, and then the very next week you'll find out once you've got your car that some great new things come out, next week and available in 3 months.
I ordered the Tesla on those principles because you always hear about all this stuff coming up. I put a battery in my house. I heard someone say last week they wouldn't put a battery in the house, but I already have. There's still some solar panels. But people are saying all these other. Anyway, I could wait another 12 months and the situation would be the same. I just bit the bullet and did it.
Yeah. And look, and to be perfectly honest, for any new Tesla owner, you will basically not know the difference between the current version and this next version with hardware 4 or whatever. And for almost everyone's use case, it's not going to make any difference to your life for the next 5 years. So in which case, just don't worry about it. Get the car you want. There was a gentleman I met last week. It was only a few days ago, at the Woolworths charger in Applecross, and he'd already gotten a car for himself, and he'd ordered one for his wife, but it wasn't coming for a few weeks. I'm just trying to get his text. Sorry, I don't. Oh, here we go. Just trying to get his name, Chris, and he basically ordered 2 cars, 2 Model Ys, one for himself, one for his wife. His wife's one was coming later. We were just chatting in the underground car park, and I said, "Oh, look, Tesla's got a few Model Ys in inventory, and there happened to be I think it was a red one with white interior, and he'd ordered a red one with black interior." And I said, "Well, you could always just go and buy that and shelve the other order." And he ended up doing precisely that, and he's picking up his car in a couple of weeks. So, there are opportunities to do things. You just never know what comes around the corner.
I pretty much made my mind. I'm going to offer them 98, leave the ball in their court. If they come back at 98, otherwise I'll just wait for my long range. That's pretty much what I'm going to do.
Good call.
That's a good call. So you'll be happy both ways. You'll be happy with your long range, or you'll be happy with the performance at a cheaper price. So
right, yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Peter, I've put this.
Guys have got a bit of an idea.
I've put this link in the chat. So if you want to book a test drive, this is the easiest way to do it. Just book it online, and you just turn up with your driver's license and take one for a spin. So I'd highly recommend doing that. At least then you're making an informed decision rather than being regretful.
You'll be right.
I'm never regretful. Life says take it as it comes.
Yeah, exactly. Look, you won't regret any Tesla that you buy, to be honest.
No.
So
I'll be happy.
And getting a Model Y is the best first decision you've made. So yeah, it'll be good
You'll regret
regardless
you
of what you
haven't
do.
done it sooner.
What was that?
You'll regret you haven't done it sooner.
Yeah.
It's my retirement present.
Very, very
Like a
good.
Richard to retire.
Well,
Good
something we'll
man.
talk about a
You
little bit
earned it,
later is Tesla's share price, which
I keep
is
looking.
going to help us all retire soon enough. For those of us that have got some skin in the game, but we'll do that traditionally a little bit later in the program.
40% up over a short period of time. It's on the news today.
Yes, and on the pre-open, I think they're still actually, yeah, they're still up. This will be a 14th consecutive days that they've been up, if they stay up tonight, which is a wonderful thing. But yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, James, you had an image. I think this image was. Were you implying that? Is that to invoke a little bit of range anxiety?
Used to it. Don't bother about it. We went sightseeing, drove around. You arrived 5%. The car was pretty well spot on.
Very good, very, very good. Personally, I'd say you weren't ambitious enough, but hey, it's all right. But you know what's really strange is it seems that if you use a supercharger, I came up from Albany a couple of weeks ago and went through Williams, and the car was happy for it to predict that it would arrive at my home at 5%. And I knew I could charge beforehand if I wanted to, but the car was happy. It didn't say I needed to charge anywhere else, and it didn't say I needed to slow down, and I didn't, and made it with 5%. So yeah, it's actually quite accurate.
Does it do that if you look like you're going to run out of range? Will it tell you to slow down or?
Yes, it does. So it'll
Okay.
say, do no fast. Sometimes it's funny. It says, don't drive faster than 110 kilometers an hour to reach your destination. And it's like, yeah, well, that's the law. But other times it'll say 100, it'll say 90, and I think
Okay.
it'll get down to like 80 k's an hour if
Yeah.
it's getting particularly nervous.
Cool.
Is that only
I had
that
that.
you
No.
destination
Got
though?
to 80.
Oh, so hang on 2 seconds, Nigel. Go Alex, and then to Nigel.
Is that only if you set your destination?
Oh yes, of course,
Yeah,
because
yes.
otherwise it doesn't know how far your destination is. So if you don't put in a destination, well, it doesn't know. So
Yeah.
you'll just keep driving until you get super low. Although it might actually say something like, you need to plan your next charge because there are no known charges within range that's remaining. I
That's
think,
really
but I've never
interesting.
tried
I
that.
wish I'd known that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, with every 10% of the speed that you're doing that you reduce, you gain 14% of range, which can make a big difference.
I've done
know.
that just driving like to school and back to Walpole and back. And I've driven it at different speeds and just checked out the differences.
Yep.
And yes, you're absolutely right. Yep.
Yeah. So if I can find this tweet again, when Rob and I did this test of the two performance cars with the same cars with two different wheels, that was one test we did. But then the other one was, so the first one was a tale of two wheels, which is this one here, to show a 12% difference between the aero wheels and the performance wheels on a performance car. But then we repeated the test, except this time it was with a Rob Dean's performance Model Y with the aero wheels and one of my standard range Model Ys with aero wheels, and basically found that they had equal economy. So the performance is slightly lower than the standard range, but it's also got two motors, so you've got a little bit of loss there. But in the end, the efficiency was basically spot on. But the real kicker is if you look at the efficiency between the performance car with 19-inch Gemini wheels was 158 watt hours per kilometre. That's Rob Dean's car. And when he repeated the same test on a different day, he got basically within 1 watt hour difference between the two tests, two independent tests. So that just goes to show how close these cars are, in repeatability.
What speed were you doing there, Harold?
The speed limit.
Oh.
So it's 100 in some areas. You've got your little patches of 90 or 80, and you got going through town. Weren't really any towns, I don't think, but there were roadhouses and not roadhouses, but petrol stations. There was slight speed differences, and there were a couple of little bits of roadworks, but on average, from Byford to Williams back to Byford, on the 2 different days, Rob's car got within 1 watt hour per kilometre on the 2 different days.
It'd be interesting to do the same test at 15 k's under the rated speed limit everywhere and see how much you can save yourself.
Yeah, but it's very difficult in traffic conditions because we don't have multi-lane. Yeah, that's difficult. That is difficult. But like I said, the speed, we already know the speed. It's literally 14% for every 10% compounding. So, anyway. Cool. Alrighty. So has anyone else got any questions or comments or any
I
news
have
items?
another question, as usual, about
Yes, Michelle.
charging. Always about charging. This one that I've got at school, it's the single phase 32 amp, right? Do I have to do anything on the screen in the car to use that? Because I'll tell you why, and I think it's probably a problem with the point, but when I plugged the car into it, it kept tripping the switch.
Yeah, okay. So how quickly will it trip it?
Fairly quickly. I was
And
obviously in class.
This is the single phase 32 amp outlet. that clips
32
all-
amp. Yeah,
Okay,
with the,
so-
the 3-pin thing.
Yes. The big one, the big juicy 3-pin. So it's
Yes.
so your car, when you plug your car in, it would be drawing 32 amps.
7 kilowatts.
Yeah. So what you do is, I'll just open up our
And I just had a
Just-
thought, because the dental van was at the school, they plugged into it, they were fine.
Yep.
2 days later, I plugged the car into it, but it just kept tripping the switch in the meter box.
So the circuit breaker. Do you know what value the circuit breaker is? Do you know what what it's rated to?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just got to click on charging. Okay, so this is an old screen because our screens look slightly different.
Yeah.
And what you would have seen here is 32 amps.
Right.
So just manually use the minus button and
Yeah.
click on it just to click. Sorry, charging. Just click the minus button. This website's a bit slow. Click the minus button and say reduce it to, 20 amps.
Okay.
And see how it goes. The best
Yeah.
thing to do would be to have a look in the meter box, whichever one is tripped, to see what its value is. So it'll have a number. It should have C32, but it
Yeah.
might have something like C20, which
Right.
means 20 amps.
Okay.
And if it's 20 amps, just reduce your charge down to 20. Now at
Okay.
20 amps in your Model 3, you'll get best part of sorry, I've got a blank. It's 50, about 30 k's an hour.
Yeah.
About 30 k's an hour, which
It's
is
no
tons.
drama because I only do 30 k's on a trip.
Oh,
You know,
well, right. So you mean a return trip or each way?
No, each way.
Yeah. So 60 k's return, so you'd be full in 2 hours. So just
Yeah.
just reduce it to 20 amps and see how you
Okay.
go.
Yep.
And if it still pops it, then perhaps what it's actually got is a 16 amp. So then try 16 amps. And in
Yep.
16 amps, you'll get your range back in 4 hours.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
No worries. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments?
I've got something, but James has got his hand up first, and then if I could.
Oh, yes,
jump
James.
after.
Thinking on the drive, we were doing some just tooling around Bridgetown, Manjimup, and the car does say you are in this much distance the charge. Consider choosing a destination now, because basically it says you're about to go out of range of any charges. It
Yes.
only does supercharges.
No, it also does
Around
destination
Bridgetown.
charges.
Maybe destination charges as well.
Yeah.
So we were heading to Albany.
Yeah. So the car does keep a track of everywhere where you have charged, even the locations that it doesn't know until you've been there, and then it will log them as pins. So, but if you go on a road trip sort of for the first time, then yeah, if there are no nearby destination charges, it will give you that. It's quite a cool thing. It says plan your next charge. There are well, I think, what does it say? Not many, or there aren't many known charges in
Limited
your
charging
area.
options.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And so we found it kept aggressively trying to retrack us to Williams. And so we had to use Waze on the phone to do our little circuitous route through the where we're going, because the Tesla kept on trying to make you go to Williams, which is, I guess, a safety thing.
So even if you hit removed all charging stops, it would redo that, would it? When it
We hadn't been to Albany, I guess, so I didn't know about Albany. Even though we had Albany set as our destination, you'd get to a T-junction and suddenly reroute and say, go this way. And go, where's that? You zoom out and you say, oh, it's heading to Williams again.
Yes, but if you hit remove charging stops, would it then stop doing that, or would it do it at another intersection?
Then it'd do it again later on.
Oh,
sort of panicked,
okay. Right. Yep. Which, I mean, that's a bug. Tesla, it should accept that you're a grown-up and you're just insisting on going a way that it doesn't know about, and let you do it rather than become confusing. Because imagine if you didn't have many kilometers left to get to Albany, and then unbeknown to you, it told you to do a left turn instead of a right turn, and then it meant you were further away from Albany than you expected, and then you were beyond the point of no return.
Roads, and you don't know your left from right when you're turning north or south. So it's only because I knew the area, that's the wrong way. And you zoom out and go, hang on, we're going back to Williams.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a safe bug to have. You'd rather end up with Williams and be able to charge in the middle of nowhere flat.
Yes, providing it didn't actually literally take you beyond the point of no return, and then you get inconvenience, have to backtrack all the way to Williams, even though you were at wherever. If you're closer to Albany than Williams, that would be a huge waste of time. For the car.
I put a photograph in. That was a motel we're staying at. The car is literally outside the door. A ribbon cable that could fit underneath the door, so you can close the door if you had to charge in a less desirable location overnight, with permission, of course.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea, because you do need you'd need a flat 240 volt cable. Yes.
It wouldn't have to be.
Oh, sorry, James, your noise cancelling is very aggressive. You might need to be a bit closer to the speaker or whatever, because it's it's cutting the auto speaker thing. Microphone is not cutting in quick enough.
So you just want a short extension lead about 300 mils long, with a male and female on the end, so you can pass it under the door, plug in from both ends, and close and lock your door at night.
Yes, that would be an awesome idea. In the old days, you could have used the magical breakfast hatch, which a lot of the motels still have, but they've all been boarded up, at least on one side. Cool. Alrighty. So has anyone else got any other comments or questions?
I've got a question.
Richard, go, Richard.
Um,
Oh, sorry. Actually, Nigel's been very patient, but Grumpy hasn't been. So let's go to Nigel, and then we'll
No,
go
I'm
straight
getting
to
a
you,
bit
Richard.
grumpy. Sorry, I've got a cold and my internet on this place is absolute shit. So I'll be logging off in a minute. To go back, I got my car telling me to get down to 80 kilometers an hour. And this was in the good old days 3 or 4 years ago when it wasn't very good. And I said, now I'll be all right. And I was, thank goodness. Now, talking about road trips, well, I'm on a slightly different road trip. It's more of a sea trip. And I'm in an island off Finland. It belongs to Finland at the moment. It's 50 kilometers long and 49 kilometers wide. And the interesting thing is the number of chargers here is pretty damn bloody good. 50 kilometers from top to bottom and 49 kilometers. Now there's 31,000 people live here and they got 33,000 registered vehicles.
Oh.
And I've actually seen today an Ioniq 5, Kona EVs. I've seen a Tesla. Apparently there's over 100 Teslas here. They go over to Sweden, buy them there and ship them across. But if you just look, I mean, this is just amazing. All these islands, and they've got, this one's got 2. That one's got 1. They're only small islands, a few kilometers, but they got public chargers in them. And this place has got 3 50 kilowatt fast DC chargers.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
I was just getting very jealous of what they've got here with only a smaller number of EVs. It's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you go over to Finland and you just look at that. It's just amazing.
Yep. It makes us feel like we are in the third world.
Yes.
It really does.
Don't forget over to Helsinki. Oh, look at that lot.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's just mind blowing.
Oh, in Paris recently, it was like sometimes it just felt like every other vehicle was electric, and I'm talking tour buses, DHL vans, UPS, taxis, just everything. It was like wow.
Yeah.
But
my last stop, which
I kind of it's funny like you mentioned the third world, because I've been through third world countries where the locals have had a better phone than I have, and they've had better internet than I can get at home. So I would almost say that we're in like fourth world sometimes. But because I'm just looking at like the explosion of fast charging in like Thailand and Southeast Asia and India and that's incredible, really. That's kind of take a lot of people by surprise, I think.
The number of EVs that I saw in Stockholm was a lot, and I even saw a VW ID Buzz, which was a
cool.
It was a van. It wasn't a 6-seater or what have you. It was a delivery van.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
But it brought back memories from the 60s when we used to drive around in a combi. In my teenage years. Yeah.
What was it called? The gears were like stirring custard?
Yeah.
Very good. So you're cruising around. Are you going back to Finland, or are you going across to where are you going?
No, we're heading down to Visby next, and then Poland.
Oh, very good. Very
so
good.
We're heading off we get to Gdansk in a couple of days. But I'm just looking at all these islands here, and they've just got so many chargers. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yep. It's the first world. That's what you
We've got
do.
as many charges as they have. Our island's just a bit bigger, that's all.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so thanks for that. I've got to go now because I've got a cold and I'm feeling bleh.
Yeah,
So I
no
just
worries,
wanted to
Nigel. Thanks
put
for
that up and
joining
go.
us. Really
no, it's
appreciate
fine.
it. Safe
See you,
travels.
Nigel.
Get well soon.
And the internet here is shit. So
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, take care of yourself. All right, so Richard, sorry, you were going to say something
So my
before.
question is, apparently in the next update or an update, we're going to get rid of that. You're going to have the option to turn off auto wipe on when you're on auto, when you're on Navigator or Autopilot or whatever.
Oh, awesome.
Really?
Nuts. Am I the only one to hear that?
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
I didn't hear that. No.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping that what I've heard is true because it's just nuts.
Yeah, I think I heard it as well, Richard. I think it was Green the Only that found it.
Well, I hope that's the case because sometimes I've just got to turn off autopilot because can't turn the bloody wipers off and it's not raining. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
So.
It is. It's yeah. Go, Pete.
No, I was just going to say there's a. I was reading it today. There's a update coming to the windscreen wiper logarithm. So I think they're going to start utilising more than just the one camera, which is supposed to improve it by quite a lot.
I'll tell you a little story about updates. I updated because I'm a 2 Tesla family now. Anyway, last week I always update straight away. I updated them, and then I was going out somewhere. I had to take my car somewhere beforehand. I got in, and it said steering assistance unavailable. What? So I had no power steering, so it was undrivable. So anyway, I did a reset on the computer. That did nothing. So I thought, oh well, in for a penny, in for a pound. So undid the front, disconnected the 16-volt battery and the 400-volt battery, left it for 5 minutes, came back, worked a treat, and put the car back together, worked a treat. So I rang Ben, my Tesla man, and only got his answer machine. So I actually drove up to Tesla and told them in the service department, if anyone gets this problem, you just disconnect all the voltage, and it's just a bit of knowledge for them. So anyway, so it fixed it. So
very good.
A similar thing happened in Queensland at one of the supercharger locations where a lady was driving a car and she couldn't supercharge. I think the charge port door wouldn't open, or it said that there was a fault with it. And it just so happened that a team of Tesla technicians sort of came along because they were in a common car. I think they were off duty or they were going somewhere, and they got a laptop and hooked it up to the computer, to the car, and did this and that and all sorts of stuff, and they were playing around with it and couldn't get it to resolve, and they thought they might have to get a flatbed to tow it and whatever. And then in desperation, one of them basically did a hard reset, which, like you described, Richard, is take all the power off and put it back on, and it resolved itself. So and in fact, James is on the ball because it was an article in the Driven, and
James, you're amazing.
He's a very good producer. He for what he gets paid, he does infinitely well. So yes, how a chance encounter with Tesla employees saved a 9-hour road trip, and these are the Tesla guys. One didn't slip on the banana, but he almost did. Banana skin.
So even they didn't know how to fix it.
No, they whipped out. They were pulling stuff apart. They were. It took me. I haven't read this article for a while, so I don't recall the exact details. But they were pulling things apart and trying all sorts of tricks and whatever. And in the end, they just did the old turn it off and turn it back on. I think they were basically doing it.
Bastard. Yeah.
Reboot it. So yeah, remove the 12-volt battery, and unplug the main cable from the battery. Yeah. And then left it for 60 seconds, and then they reverse the process.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Actually, that reminds me, I'm just going to change screens for a moment. I think I still have this. I really wish people that were either real journalists or pretend journalists would actually proofread their stuff, because Teslarati had an article a couple of weeks ago about Elon Musk discusses potential involvement with Mongolia's PM. But then they go on to say Elon Elon Musk discussed potential Tesla investments in Magnolia. So this year that discussed Magnolia's new recovery policy, and then later became Mongolia. So they couldn't tell their Magnolias from their Mongolias. So
was it in the West Australian a couple of weeks ago? They had this thing and it had a picture of a Model S, and it had Model 3 photo by EV Expert.
I saw that.
Did you laugh? I did.
Lots. I thought somebody would have told them.
Well, after the event, of course, because you.
Too late, yeah. But yeah.
I keep threatening to use the West Australian as a teaching worksheet in my English classes at school.
What, for killing cockroaches?
No, for picking out mistakes.
As to what not to do.
Yep, with grammar and spelling and all sorts of things.
Problem is, the only person doing the proofreading is the journalist that wrote it, and as we know, you cannot proofread your own stuff. It's just not possible.
Yep.
There's no sub-editors. Yes,
Speaking
Alex.
of journos, we had an article done for our business, and someone put instead of recirculating air for your car air conditioning, they put reticulating air. I told them so many times, you need to put it recirculating air, not reticulating air, then you fix it.
To keep you cool.
Now, something that is actually in a draft form is done by the West Australian government, and it is a draft position statement on electric vehicle charging infrastructure. And it's something, I'll get the link. In fact, I'll just put the link. There's actually, sorry, the actual main link. Once this computer works, copy, paste, so you can all play at home. And if you're watching via YouTube, just Google the draft electric vehicle charging infrastructure PDF. So that's this one here. And it's a position statement on electric vehicle charging infrastructure. And what it basically deals with, and what they actually want is comments. So they want submissions, and I think there's a 2-month submission period. And what it basically goes through is recommendations on how to deal with electric vehicle infrastructure. Now, at the bottom there's a table, and what they're sort of saying is there's two color codes. One is preferred and one is encouraged. The problem is I don't know the difference between preferred and encouraged, because neither of these items or terms sound like mandatory. But they're saying for a bed and breakfast they want to encourage a level 1 charger. Level 1 charger is a 10 amp GPO in one communal bay, and a caravan park they recommend 1 bay per powered site, but that's a 10 amp outlet, and 50% of them to have a 10 amp outlet on communal bays and so on, and it goes on to car parks, exhibition centres. Level 2 is basically a Tesla destination charger or a Type 2 charger, and they're saying 2% of bays with a minimum of 1 bay for an exhibition centre where you can have 200 people. And if you've got a large exhibition centre with 1,000 square metres of floor space, they recommend 2% of bays. So if there's 100 bays, they recommend 2 bays.
Maybe they need to go to Norway, where they have shopping centres with 4 floors of parking, and 3 of the 4 floors, every single bay's got a level 2 charger.
Yep.
Wow.
And bearing in mind that all of these are just recommendations of being preferred or encouraged. And then a lot of it'll be better. I'm not going to read it live because there's a fair bit to go through. But a lot of it, they're actually describing things that what local government authorities should do, because I think they can't actually make them do anything. And one of the things they suggested that they do is not require development applications for EV charging infrastructure if it's, say, within premises, so that you don't need a design application. But of course, I don't think the state government can tell the local governments what to do. So have a look at it on the website, the draft position statement, electric vehicle charging infrastructure. And I think the submissions close, Ken told me, but it is in a couple of months. So there is a link to actually put in the consultation hub. It's closes on the 14th of August. So for anyone interested, please do provide feedback. And the club, for one, will be putting in a submission, which we're going to dob ourselves, various committee members, into doing to put in a submission. But it's basically for infrastructure, as in buildings, residential places, bearing in mind the federal government does have a requirement for residential buildings and others that's supposed to come in force for new buildings, new developments from, I think, October this year. So there is some federal government oversight to the entire thing. But anyway, that's that.
So are we going to send out to the club, the club members, like an email with that link or something? So then,
yes, absolutely. I only heard about this at about 6:30 tonight, so I just haven't had any time to do it.
Yeah, no worries.
I had to have a quick read of it too, just to see what it was about.
Cool. Harold, shall we mention the new proposed legislation, or what's being thrown about at the moment in terms of EVs in Australia having sound or some sort of an audible device below 20k now?
I think those submissions closed. There were submissions requested for feedback, because what Australia is, or the Australian government is proposing, is to enact similar legislation as you have in the United States, possibly parts of Europe, where EVs and plug-in hybrid or hybrid vehicles are required to make noise below a certain speed threshold, which is, I think it's about 25 k's an hour. And in fact, with thanks to our awesome producer, here it is right here, which is Acoustic Vehicle Alerting Systems for Electric Vehicles.
That's the one.
And I think, it was the 26th of May for submissions. So, and I think it's, the threshold is 25 k's an hour, and it's sort of, I think they're basically going to mirror it, or they're proposing to mirror it to international rules, where it has to be, unlike what Elon Musk says you can do with your boombox, it has to be a non-distracting but alerting, not annoying but alerting tone, or multi-tones that let pedestrians know that a car is approaching or in the area. But it can't be annoying, and it can't be ignorable.
Not all legs on?
No, it sort of can't be something that it's either a joke, or it has to be the correct volume, and it has to be noticeable but not annoying, and all these sort of different characteristics. But the good thing is,
oh, sorry, go on, Harold.
But the good thing is it cuts out at about, I think it's about 25 kilometres an hour, because general tyre noise then takes over and means you don't need to make additional noise.
I reckon their threshold is too high, but I think it really should apply to all cars, because all new cars, petrol, maybe not diesel, but certainly petrol, they're so quiet you can't hear them. So if they're going to be quiet, it should apply to them as well. But the 100%. Other thing is the speed for cutting out, I think, is too high. I reckon 10k would be maximum, because you get that speed. Tyre noise is quite unless it's very smooth concrete or something, which is unusual. But I think the threshold for the speed, it should be reduced to around, say, 10 kilometres an hour.
Yep.
But it should apply to all cars that are below a certain decibel level, I think, because the petrol are just as quiet as electric. Well, almost nowadays. They're very quiet.
Absolutely. So it should actually apply to all vehicles, that all vehicles need to emit. Oh, and by the way, the threshold, thanks, James, is actually 20 k's an hour. But nonetheless, it is, I think that's a bit high. It should be for all vehicles, regardless, should emit a minimum of X decibels. But then on the other hand, you know, it's a wonderful thing that you don't emit any noise at all, because imagine, I mean, I don't know if you've heard a Hyundai Kona makes this droning sort of like a sort of noise. It's a bit of a drone. And there are some other cars that have, I think the BYD's got this weird mixed harmonic, and it kind of has a dinging noise along with another melody, which is a bit annoying. And what we don't really want is this cacophony, like if you go down the Cappuccino Strip, of these groaning, droning electric cars driving along at 15 k's an hour. It'd
Absolutely.
be pretty, or 20 k's an hour. It'd become pretty annoying.
Or even in a car park.
Because
Go, Pete.
Just to put things into perspective, it's amazing that, you know, the government's on the front foot with this. You know, I don't know how many people, and look, if it saves one life, it's well worthwhile doing. Okay, so let's just put that out there. But I'd love to know how many people have died because they were killed by an EV driving less than 25 kilometres an hour. But then you look at there's 6.7 million people that die annually prematurely from air pollution, mostly caused by tailpipe emissions. There's over 11,000 a year in Australia, which is a lot higher. I think the road toll is only about 2,000 or 3,000 or whatever it is. So, you know, but there doesn't seem to be, you know, any huge urgency around that. If anything, they've been really dragging their feet on emission standards. So, you know, it just doesn't make sense.
And you've also got to question the thing where a lot of people have earbuds in, and, you know,
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
They could be driving a diesel and, you know, booming out noise, and they're still not going to hear it anyway, or they're going to be distracted on their phone.
You can drive a petrol car in neutral. You can just put it into neutral and it makes barely any noise.
Yep.
And I was like at
go, Paul.
Sorry. Oh, I was just going to say, like, I was at the EV Meets Drive, and there was like 40 cars, and most were Teslas. And when we got to the pub and we're driving in the car park, it was just wonderful. It was like very peaceful, just watching all these cars pull in and that stuff. And yeah, it was just a total opposite sort of thing. And then you had a petrol car drive past, and everyone look at it, this annoying noise. So, yeah.
You had to spin your wheels to be noticed, did you?
Yeah. Oh, I put the window down and just go vroom vroom. So, but yeah, like you said, Harold, people got their earbuds in now. No one can hear anything anymore. So this is just stupid. Yeah. Just another thing to make our lives worse as opposed to better.
I mean, one thing that they could do is, rather than it just automatically having to be on, you know, especially the Teslas, but other cars as well, they can recognise pedestrians now. So it should only come on if it recognises that there's a pedestrian in the area, so that, you know, if you pull into a driveway at 1 o'clock in the morning, you're not waking everyone up, you know.
Exactly.
And you should give the driver the ability to disengage it, you know, when they see fit. Alternatively, my Volt's got like a little chirper. So it's got the horn, but then I can chirp for pedestrians as well. So you could make it the other way around, where, you know, you just switch for the driver. There's all different ways to go.
There is another way that you can do it, which goes a little bit like this. there you go. Just have a man with a trumpet blowing his own trumpet.
That's the best
Oh.
one.
Yeah. So anyway, but look, we're going to get it. I think thankfully it won't be any cars that don't have it just get grandfathered like everything else. You can still drive around without a seatbelt as long as your car didn't have one when it was bought new. So for everyone that's got a Tesla now, we don't have to worry until we replace the car. But it will come.
Not good. So you have all these Cybertrucks going there.
Oh, yeah.
Son of a-
Oh. And the Tesla Semi will have this weird up to 20 k's an hour. But that's all right. It'll only take about a second from 0 to 20 to make it shut up before you get another 4 seconds later it'll get to 100 k's an hour.
Can you imagine bush bashing and got that bloody noise for an hour?
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, very good point, Richard.
And the speed limit around here where I live is 20 k's. So I'm sure everybody in this peaceful little holiday village is going to love me driving around with this noise going.
Yes, but Michelle, just as long as you don't sell your Model 3, you'll be okay because they
That's
won't
right.
retrofit it. It'll
No.
yeah.
Maybe it'll just encourage everybody to speed.
Yes, sorry, officer. I just wanted to get my car to shut up because the noise
Yep.
was annoying.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have hit the kids if I wasn't going that fast.
Dearie me. Oh well. I guess we might as well, since Carmen's in the hoose, have a quick
No,
look.
don't look.
I'm going to do it live.
Don't look.
Oh no, is it down? Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Maybe we won't.
I bought at opening and it's dropped $4, and I was like, "You
Oh,
son of a!"
no. Is it? Oh.
It was
Yeah.
up from yesterday. Yeah, it's down.
256. I'll try and see if Tesla.
Down
if this
$2.52,
works.
$2.40, $2.33, $1.99. It's coming up.
255. Oh. Oh.
256.
256 at
Yeah.
the moment.
256.
Oh, yeah.
It's
75.
sort of up and down a little bit.
I'll just wait till the morning.
Not too bad.
It's had a big run though, hasn't it? Eh?
It's
It's
had a huge
I
run.
bought it opening, so it was 260. It was like, son of a bitch. It's gone down.
It's your fault.
I won't care.
Oh, it's your fault.
Oh no, I literally won't give a shit in a couple of years. It'll be a few thousand. It
It's
won't
gone
matter.
up amazingly.
Yeah, it has. It really has. I'm just trying to get the
I bought
NAS
some at
stat.
114. I bought it 10 grand. I want to go on a holiday. I thought I'll buy 10 grand's worth of shares at 114. And yeah, they've done well.
That's not
Yeah.
bad. That's
As well
pretty
as what
good.
I already had. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I bought around the same around the same time.
Yeah, that was
So-
January,
Just
wasn't
over
it?
100.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
January or something.
Yep.
I'm just trying to get Tesla's chart. If we go the 1 month chart,
Yeah, I bought the
Well,
last 3
it
months.
was
It's actually been quite good.
$167.98 1 month ago.
Yeah.
So it's gone up
Yes.
52%.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Last time I got
But the
before
year
this
to
was
date, it's
161.
The year to date is 108%.
Yes. So there it is there. The low, sorry, at the start, it closed $166 a month ago.
1 month. Yeah.
Yep, that's just 1 month.
Yeah.
I told three of my friends to buy them when they were about 114 or in that vicinity. None of them did. And I pointed out to them the price. They don't really get it. It's just like my three brothers bought 3 Mazdas the other day. I couldn't believe it. I've been on to one of them in particular, get a Model Y. They've just dismissed it. They'll see the error of the ways one day. 3 of them in 1 week bought Mazdas.
Well, it's interesting because I met a gentleman at Riverton Shops who just got his Y. I think he had it 3 days, not even, roughly 3 days, and he got it on a novated lease, and he was going to get a Mazda something, and that was $40,000. And he actually said on the novated lease, the 70, I think it was a blue car, so it was $78,000 Model Y was cheaper on the novated lease than the $40,000 Mazda or whatever. That's the difference.
I know.
You know.
Well, I tried to tell them this, but you can't tell the relatives.
Speaking of other cars, I've got grandchildren about to start driving. Can they do a test with an EV? No.
You
No,
can't even do it.
it's
Yes,
difficult.
the car's got to have a handbrake accessible by the examiner. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. And my sister's just come back from Europe.
Oh, sorry, hang on 2 seconds, John. Just go, Carmen.
Yeah. So she is looking. She's in an apartment that doesn't have charging, and she wanted to buy. She didn't want to spend too much at the moment, and was looking to find the best hybrid. Someone said it was a Toyota. Has anybody got experience?
Definitely not a Toyota.
No.
The best hybrid is to get a pure EV.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
Carmen,
know.
so they're in an apartment that they can't charge. Actually,
Yeah.
there's someone I know, and she won't mind me mentioning her. It's Christina, and she's actually she said to me that she's in an apartment in Joondalup,
Yep.
and the strata company is refusing to even allow her at her own expense to have a 10 amp power point installed at her parking bay.
That's
So
ridiculous.
this is how belligerent they are. And I guess the problem is at this stage, unless there's some legislation, I think if a strata company agree, like one of the people in the body corporate was threatening to try and have her car banned from being parked in the car park because it's a fire risk.
Really?
This is the depth. This is true. This is the depth to which some people can go in their dislike of EVs.
Oh.
So, and unfortunately, actually, this is just a little side issue, but she is literally the poster child for why public AC or DC charging, but mainly AC charging, ought not to be free, because she lives in the middle of Joondalup. She's only a couple of 100 meters from the shops, but she can't charge at the shopping centre because there are all these Tesla freeloaders that are trying to get free juice, because nothing in life is better. What is it? All the best things in life are free. So they're trying to save a few dollars for a few hours for a car they spent $80,000 on, when this lady literally is unable to charge at home, but can't go to these chargers even if she wanted to pay money for them, because they're being hogged by selfish, self-interested EV owners.
Oh, I had no idea that apartment blocks could put those sort of rules in there. And
She said they claimed that if they let her do it, then they'd have to let other people do it. And then what happens when everyone wants it? And it's
a
like,
friend
well,
of mine has got a shed behind her car, the storage shed. So she cut the door a little bit on the bottom and puts her cord through.
Yep.
And plugs in her power point in her shed.
Yep.
And locks the door.
Yes.
But I would imagine that the electricity used goes to her unit.
Yes.
Because it's in her shed.
Yes, that's right.
And there's a power point there already.
Yep.
But they can actually stop you using it.
No, they can't. No.
Oh, I don't know if they can stop you using it in that case. Look, if the cord had to go across a footpath or something that was in the common area, they may try and claim trip hazard.
Yeah.
But if it's a shed that's adjacent to your parking spot,
it's right
and
behind.
It's your shed power that you're entitled to, then they can't do anything. Well, they could probably try.
Could get some news footage of all the petrol cars going up, because there's been a lot of them lately going up in flames, far more than the electric cars.
Yeah.
The electric cars have got safeguards.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But yeah.
very annoying. Well, I heard that some of the hybrids do regenerate. So, do we have
No.
anyone following
No.
those and knows which is the best one?
There isn't one.
There's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid. That's a lie.
Is that right?
Perpetuated by
Yeah.
Toyota. Yes. Yeah. Don't believe the rhetoric.
So the only time it self-charges
You have
is
to
if you
get
want to
like
call
a
it.
plug-in hybrid, and you can't even get a hybrid at the moment, like a plug-in hybrid anyway.
So
you might as well just get a bloody electric car and be done with that.
Yeah, no.
Because you can. I did meet a fellow at the supercharger, and he actually is at an apartment, doesn't have charging, and he just goes there, plugs in, goes to the pub, has a drink, and then comes back down and unplugs.
Oh, fuck.
So
sorry. Sorry.
Oh, really? I didn't think it was
What
that
did you do?
controversial.
No. Sorry.
One drink?
It was this video here. I'll play it.
I never took Carmen to be such a foul mouth.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like me, doesn't it?
Oh, that's classic.
Oh, fuck.
That's just the car blowing up.
Wow.
Sorry about that.
I know, it's crazy. And yeah, I had mates in their apartment complex opposite Langley Park, and there was a couple of Model 3s plugged in to their PowerPoints on their car base, and the body corporate came in and blanked all the GPOs in the car park.
If they're
So then
private,
Because they were milking power. But that's
if they're
fair
owned
enough.
by them, they can't.
Yeah,
do that.
but
Oh,
they even
now-
offered to pay, and they still said no. Oh, sorry.
They need to add a meter. Sorry, John, and I'll go straight to you, James,
Yeah.
as well. Sorry, John, I think you had something to say a long time ago. Apologies. Go.
That's fine. No, as far as talking to Carmen, my daughter just got a license in our little BMW i3S, and the assessor was just so distracted by a lovely little EV that she cracked it first time.
Fantastic. And what's the car called?
BMW i3S. So, and it's got a central little brake. so
John, you've got
the
really bad
instructor
internet.
Or the assessor can. Yeah, I have. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, John. So I think coming to what John was saying, it's a BMW i3.
Oh,
And
well,
I
that's
think
not
what you
cheap.
said, I think what you indicated was there's a handbrake in the middle. Is that right? In the center console?
Electric little flick handbrake. Yep.
Oh, okay. But
So
that's
there's
more
no
expensive
issue.
than a Tesla, so it doesn't help.
Can't buy them. They don't. I don't think they have i3s anymore.
No.
No, they've stopped making them, so and they're not that cheap. So
Why? Did they stop making them?
well, they were making them for 10 years, so they've just finished the run. They're not making them anymore.
Hmm.
So anyway, that's okay by the assessing station. Quite happily with an EV.
Okay.
And what you should do, Carmen, is recommend anyone that's getting their kids a driver's license, try and get them a manual license if you can.
Yes, yes. Well, I was
Just-
actually thinking, seeing as I have so many grandkids, that I might buy a little manual car and just let them, because I can't afford to buy them a car each. So I could just keep one and just let them all turn it over because I've got 8 all 1 year apart. So
I did exactly that, Carmen. I bought a Hyundai i20
okay.
in 2013, and it's so basic it hasn't even got cruise control. It's a complete manual car.
Yes.
And I ran 4 kids, 3 of my own and 1 of my wife's.
Yes.
And actually, I lent the car to Ken, and he put his boy through it as well. And they all learnt to drive manual transmission.
I think that's, I'm thinking of doing that actually. That's good. Okay, so a Hyundai i20.
Oh no! Now it might
here's a
be.
question.
You might be struggling though to get. You do your research, Carmen, because I think as we speak today, you'd probably be struggling to get a manual car, but just ask around.
Okay.
Or look, if it's a learner's car, just get a second-hand one, because it
Yeah.
doesn't have to
Oh,
be
yes,
flash.
yeah.
Because look, to be honest, my
Yeah.
oh my God, that i20, it's about to have its second service, so it's just about to tick over 30,000 kilometers over 10 years, and they are the hardest kilometers any car has ever done. There's probably no handbrake pads left. Probably almost no clutch material left. There's almost not a straight panel on this car because we've had little incidents and
Well, you're
accidents.
lucky you still have the car, because both my boys wrote them off.
But look, it's a
Are there-
great
are there
look.
any-
Do it.
Are there any manual electric cars that you could literally? Are there any manual electric cars that you could literally just use to get a manual license?
No, of course not, because you don't need a
I didn't think
clutch.
so.
You don't need gears.
No,
There's
no,
no
but-
gearing.
No, but I mean, could you,
No,
if you
no.
retrofitted, if you converted like an
Oh.
ICE car with an electric motor, could you then use that to pass your test and it be a manual?
Yeah. But it'd cost you $50,000 to convert
Sure.
some old crappy. No, you just got to Google. I don't know if any of the Hyundais, if they come in manual anymore, but
Oh, okay.
and I did hear on the radio that. And sorry, James, I'm going to come to you in 10 seconds.
Sorry.
I did hear on the radio that it was actually some police. Some young policemen had to move some car or something, and they worked out they didn't have a manual license, so they weren't qualified to move that manual car or whatever. So it's an issue that can pop up in all sorts of professions, because you never know when you might need to move a manual car or deal with a manual car. Sorry, James, go.
My daughter did her test in the electric vehicle. It's up to the individual assessor to say whether they'll have your car. So Joondalup said no, but West Perth were happy for her to do it.
Oh, okay.
Joondalup had an accident with one of the pull on the handbrake, and they actually cancelled themselves. So up to the individual assessor to deem your car safe. And even on the day, they might say, I don't want to do it in this car.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, because they're all registered, and if we can't drive them, they got to learn on something, and it's getting very hard to get a manual second-hand car. There's very few manual ones around, because we've tried to buy a manual. It's hard.
Okay.
For
Well,
Tesla
manuals
to implement a test mode, because all they need to have is an accessible brake in the center. So if Tesla had a button, go test mode and had a button on the screen that activated the brakes, that would make everyone happy, and they could do licenses in the Tesla.
All
Instructor
Holden,
can reach.
all Holdens used to have the handbrake on the right-hand side, and I got my license in an FJ Holden. How things have gone backwards. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
I'm trying to look for a small car. I don't think the i20 doesn't even exist anymore. And
One
It's
of mine got
Elon
an
and just says,
323.
I need an emergency brake button in the middle of the screen. They can all
oh,
Maybe the
James, your
examiner-
noise cancelling's terrible. It's just not picking up. I don't know why. We're just not hearing you properly. Yeah, Carmen, I think you're going to really struggle.
Oh, so I better
Oh,
start looking.
no, there's a manual. Sorry, it's not cheap. There's an i30 starting at 26 grand, 6-speed manual. There you go. There is one manual. Oh,
Well,
don't worry
they
about the
probably
speeds.
like it.
But
Mm.
there's a 6-speed manual.
Okay, I'll take a photo.
So that's an
Right.
i30. Look, there might be a Toyota Corolla that maybe that comes in a manual.
That's what
but
my boys all had when they started, but that was a long time ago.
I'm
The
just
old
looking.
Mazda 323 might be all right.
Yeah, if it comes in, yeah. But you want to get something cheap. But I mean,
Yes.
look, my i20 cost me $13,500
Yes, sounds very good.
long time ago. But it was well worth it because,
Yeah.
oh, geez, we ran
Yes.
those cars for hundreds of hours.
Yes.
Because you've got to do, I forget how many, 50 hours, and that's not
It's
enough
about to go up.
for kids
Carmen, I've
these
got your
days.
car for you, Carmen.
Yes.
Toyota Corolla, manual, brand new, Corolla GR GTS, $69,879 on car sales.
Oh,
69
really?
grand? No.
I know
69
what
grand
that
for
happened.
Corolla.
Why?
As long as they kids, they can all use it.
It's probably a 5-second car, for 5 seconds 0 to 60. That's why it's 70 grand for a Corolla.
I
Oh my
don't
God.
think that's a good learner's car.
No.
Oh, learn how to go fast. Be
And
ready
as
to
I say, I don't
get out.
expect it to actually live as long as Harold's.
Yeah, but then they get out of that into the Tesla, and it'll just be a smooth transition.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Oh, 70
I think
grand
I've
for a
crossed that
Corolla.
one
What's the
off.
world coming to?
Gosh.
That's crazy. But then the manual ones.
Well, there's a new business for somebody. Buy a little
manual.
fleet of manuals.
Yeah, but kids don't want to learn. Well, my kids learn in manuals, but no kids these days want to learn in manual. Oh, you don't need it. You go out to work on the mines and you got to drive one of the Land Cruisers. You got to have a
Yes.
manual.
Yeah.
But that's about the only time you'd use manual in an EV world, and in a very few years there'll be no manuals except for mine sides, basically.
Yeah,
In a few years, you won't even have the driver behind the wheel.
That
Yeah,
is
well,
true.
so automatic really is where we're heading for everything.
I just looked up Toyota, and I think their smallest is a Yaris, and it's a CVT auto. So I don't think Toyota sell a small car in manual anymore.
So we have to find little old lady that's had one for 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd sell you my i30, Carmen, but I don't know if I'd do it to you. And actually, I use it as a spare car. Like it's an awesome, emergency spare.
Yeah.
But very basic.
Harold, I can't remember who was talking about the novated lease and the Model Y being cheaper, but wanted to put up this photo here, or this table, which shows, this is, I put this one up during that talk that I did at the exhibition centre. So this is based on an $80,000 salary for someone in WA. It assumes 15,000 kilometres driven per year, so pretty much the average for an Australian. It's based on a 5-year term and includes maintenance, rego insurance, the whole lot. So you can see on the far right, there's a Model Y with a drive away price of roughly about 71 grand, and it comes to 1,071 a month, all included. And then on the far left, you've got a Mazda CX-5 at 44 grand, and it's $105 a month more expensive.
Zero. Yep.
And a car similar in price, like the Ford Everest, is about $600 a month more.
Yep.
So,
now, by the way, this gentleman I was speaking to said that there's a bit of a breakthrough as far as the novated leases go, in that for petrol, for fuel, internal combustion leased cars, you get a fuel card, and you just go and buy petrol using your fuel card as part of the leasing arrangement, and you don't pay for the petrol. Well, apparently to make it easier for EVs, what they're doing to simplify things, because it's hard to work out where you bought electricity, how much you paid for it, all that sort of stuff. It seems that they're converging on a 4 cents per kilometre allowance. So I think you just declare how many kilometres you've done in the lease period, and then you get that paid back, I presume, as a rebate on your lease payments for the notional electricity used.
There's 4 cents a kilometre. What's the Victorian EV tax rate?
2.5, I think, something like that.
It's a lot, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so 4 cents. So, for example, if you do 100 kilometers, that's $4.
Mm.
Uh,
Jeez, we can
now,
make some money.
$4 buys you at 30 cents per kilowatt hour, 13 kilowatt hours. So, well, that's actually not that great. So you'll get, as long as you get average 133 watt hours per kilometer, then that's where you break even.
Which you might not do, yeah.
Which you might not quite, but it's close. It's close enough.
Yeah.
At 4 cents per kilometre. If you're paying 30 cents per kilowatt hour at home, which most people are.
Well, that
So-
could be an option, at least for 3 months for each kid.
Oh no, this is this. Well, you mean for the learner car?
Yeah.
Oh no. See, this is a novated lease. So this is for employees. So
Okay.
the novated leases are for employees. It usually works best if you're in a higher tax bracket, because then the tax effects become
Yeah,
a
of
lot
course.
better.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, look, for the kids, if you got six grandies or whatever to go through a car, and if they're prepared to do a manual, I mean, if your kids can convince your grandies to do it,
Mhm.
yeah, if you bought a car, you'd still have a residual value of half for it. And if you think about, having to do 50 hours, and if you pay a driving instructor for 50 hours of just practice, because a lot of it is just practice, that's going to cost a fortune.
I know.
You know.
So that's why I was thinking they can have the last month of lessons and go for the test with the driver.
Yes.
But in the meantime, if I had one,
Yes.
I can just use it for at the time they need. Mm.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
I'll make some. I might put some ads in the local rags and see if there are some oldies that keep them and don't
Yes.
drive much.
Yep.
So it might be an option. My sister was saying that she wanted a Corolla Cross, but they're not available. She wants us. It's a 2-wheel drive, I think, a 2-liter. That's
I did look at Toyota, and there are, in cars, there's, excuse me, there's a Yaris, Corolla, Camry, and Corolla
no,
sedan.
I think the Cross hasn't come out yet, has it?
It's not shown here on the Australian
No.
website. No,
I think
No.
it's a new model that it's
there's upcoming vehicle. Oh, no, that's
vehicles,
a
but
Hilux.
they're talking about on the web, they're saying 37,714, but it's an indicative model and pricing.
Sorry, there is no Corolla Cross hybrid
Is it?
available. Yeah, it's a SUV.
Yes,
It's really like
that's
a
what
station
she's
wagon.
looking at because she wants to go camping. So okay, is that
How
a
much-
new one or it's available?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how much is it compare full range.
It says
technology?
37.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You just have to. Oh, it's got CarPlay. Yeah, you just have to look it up.
Yeah,
Just have a look.
yeah. We'll call by
But-
Toyota and have a chat to the guys. Yeah.
But sorry, did you say it was your sister?
This is another issue. Yes, this
Oh.
is a sister that has come back from overseas. She's been traveling for 18 months, and she had a diesel 4-wheel drive to go do national parks and all that sort of stuff. But I think she leased that from a relative. And when she doesn't have one now, so she wants to get, and she said that seems to be the nearest to what she had, which she liked. But it sounded like a new model because what's on the internet doesn't make sense. Actually, it says it's an indicative model and pricing only. Due to extended wait times, the final vehicle we can offer you and its price are likely to be different. But really, you
Yes.
can't take any notice.
No, because what they're trying under WA law, the dealers can't increase the price by more than, I think it was 10%.
Okay.
But if they use excuses like, well, we don't really know when it's going to come out, they'll probably get you on like a soft order where it's not a full agreement, or you literally agree to pay whatever price they imagine when it arrives.
Yeah.
So actually, James just put up a thing on car sales where there's a Kia Picanto manual.
Oh, that's a good one.
$21,000 plus on roads, but the on roads wouldn't be an awful lot. Because,
No, that sounds like a good one.
so yeah, Kia does it. A Picanto, never thought of that. But yeah, look, I highly recommend you get a car,
Yeah.
and as long as you can convince the grandies to do the extra yards. We all know once you learn how to do a manual, it's not hard, but it's slightly hard at the start. It's just
Yes.
getting the clutch. As we all know, kids they can either accelerate, or they can brake, or they can steer, or they can press the clutch, or they can change gears, but they can't do any two or three or four of those things at once. It's just not
Yeah.
capable of doing it. So,
Yes. Yeah,
but
no,
hey.
that's a good one. Okay.
But
And
yeah, just do a bit of research.
That's a 23 and it's only 20,000.
Yeah. It's brand new. It's done
Oh.
10Ks. It's a manual.
Oh.
That's a dealer demo. Sorry, in New South Wales. But look,
Yeah.
there are cars around, and
Yeah. If there's one, there'll be others. Yeah.
there's lots of others.
Yeah.
And look, that's brand new. You don't even necessarily for
No.
a learner car.
No, if I
any
can
car
get
that's
if I can get a second hand, I would, because
Yep.
as I say, I don't really with that many kids. My experience is they don't survive.
No, and if you get a car that's less than 10 years old, it's going to have airbags and it's going to have ABS.
Yeah.
So it's going to have basic safety features anyway.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
um,
No, that's good. Great.
yeah.
So
So
as an SUV for my sis, what else is
just
available?
Model Y. Just tell her get a Model Y. Tell her to join the 21st century
Yep.
and not worry about it. Get a Model Y.
No, it's just I mean, she's
And tell her it's
she's
four-wheel
in South
drive.
Perth. She can use my charger. I don't mind.
Yep.
The trouble is that she's in South Perth. It's not that.
She'll be able to charge in Kings Park soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So there's at least one location in Kings Park that's going to have fast DC charging, and that's
Okay.
the WIEV network, and that's at the Zamia Cafe. So
Oh, okay.
if she wanted to have a quick coffee in
Yes.
20 minutes, she could be from flat to full almost.
If it's
Oh,
not
look, no, the Kings Park is her favorite for walking. She goes for 2-hour walks anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, in that case, what she could do, and in this case, she'd probably be almost guaranteed of charging, is if she charges at what's called the ChargeMate, which is I'll bring it up. Sorry, I just got to grab the right folder. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. It looks like this thing here. Let me just go Control L. Oh, that didn't work very well. Control L. This one here, which is the
Oh, yes.
Type 2 charger. So that one of those will be at Kings Park. So there'll be this charger on the left, which is the dual 150 kilowatt outlet, or it's 150 total. For that, she'd have to do a fairly brief walk, which is fine. Or if she likes doing walks or having coffees or whatever, look, and to be honest, this big charger at Kings Park might be quite occupied, because one issue, I don't know the answer to this, but it's probably likely, or let's call it plausible, that companies like Mercedes, Jaguar, Porsche, possibly BMW, most of the European car makers have got a deal or an arrangement with ChargeFox that they provide free charging to new car owners for, I think, the first 3 years of ownership. And it's
5
free
years, I think.
fast, or 5 years, free fast DC charging. Now, hopefully, that will not apply to the WEV network. However, I fear it might. And what that'll mean is, in Perth, you'll get Audi and anyone that's got a non-Tesla EV that's got free fast DC charging, they'll go, oh, let's just go to Kings Park and get free juice every day. But for your sister, they will not be bothering to do it on the slow charger, because I don't think that tariff applies to them. I think it's only the fast DC chargers. So for 35 cents a kilowatt hour, she can charge at this charger, and that will give her car about 50 kilometers of range per hour. So if she does a 2-hour walk, she gets 100 Ks.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to almost never be used. So that's something she can rely on. But she could also, on occasion, just use the fast DC charger.
Yeah.
And that costs, that costs 60 cents a unit, but still it's vastly cheaper than petrol.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
It's about, at that rate, it's about half the price of
Half
fuel.
the price. And so there's no plans to put one at the zoo?
Oh,
At zoo?
look, they're probably, is she in an existing unit or in one that's being built?
No, it's an existing one across the
okay.
road from the zoo.
Yeah, okay.
It's
And
old.
there's no way that, so are they banning her from, there's no chance of her
No,
getting
no.
a power?
She doesn't know. She hasn't asked.
Okay.
But they don't have garages. They're only carports.
That's
Well,
right.
that doesn't matter, because you can still run conduit and have a outdoor power point.
Yeah.
Or something as simple as a power point. Or she could just ask to have an electrician install a charger, like a HPWC.
Yeah.
Look, you know what it's like to drive a Tesla, Carmen. You know how awesome
You
they
know,
are.
she's driven mine. She loves it.
Well, then,
But she won't. No, Harold, this is awful advice, because she'll miss. She won't have to go to a petrol station. She won't have to have it
Yeah.
serviced.
No,
All those things that we used to enjoy.
She's got the money. She can buy it.
yeah. So
What's that? Why worth now?
okay, so we can get her into a Y tonight. So it's super easy. Let me just get to tesla.com. Obviously, the only car she needs is a Poverty Pearl White, black interior Model Y, standard
Go
range.
for the white interior. It's beautiful. It's cool. It's fantastic.
Well, it is. Let me just.
While Harold's looking that up, Carmen, she's got a couple of other options as well. She's got the 350 kilowatt RAC charger.
Oh, okay.
In the city there, and also the UWA chargers. So there's a few fast charging options and quite a few slow charging options around as well.
UWA, I haven't tried it, but I drive past all the time, and I'm a member of Uniclub. But there is always full.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
so you have to. Is it a special deal to get onto that? Not that I need it, but
No,
to get on that
it's
list?
cheap. It's a discount because it's discounted. People just love using it, and I think if you donated money to fund the other charger, you actually get that money back in charging credit, which means it kind of didn't cost you anything, sort of. But also something.
Except if you're like me and you donated the money and haven't used a single kilowatt hour as yet.
Well, exactly. Look, because I'm not sure if Chuck was here the whole time, but because Chuck is lurking, and I presume he's listening, but I also presume that most people in YouTube land won't be listening. The good news for your sister, Carmen, is that there will be a supercharger coming to central Perth.
Okay.
Hopefully later this year.
Wow.
It's going to very quickly get to the point where it'll be so obvious that it'll probably be made public fairly soon. But let's just say if you went into a certain part of Perth, you'd actually be able to see, when electrical contractors, they get electricity detectors, plumbing, water and gas and all that, and they mark up, lawns and all that sort of stuff. Well, if you look at a certain patch of grass, you'll see it's all been marked up, and it's being marked up because Tesla is preparing to have, like a new transformer fitted and to have superchargers in a central Perth location.
Wow.
And they are superchargers.
You can't tell us where that is.
Not quite yet.
So don't tell us where that is, but where's the lawn?
Exactly.
And the good news is the shares are up 0.64%.
Very good.
Oh,
So Carmen, let's just say not very far from where your sister likes to do stuff, there
yes.
will be a
Yes.
supercharger as well as the WEV network.
Oh, that's
and,
fantastic.
And superchargers are almost always available because they cost money, So,
Yes.
except for a
Yeah.
few legacy S and X owners that get free unlimited lifetime supercharging, everyone else has to pay.
Oh, there he is. Richard's still here. Yeah.
But also coming in the Coles in South Perth,
Yes.
there's a Zappy charger, so she can charge there.
Oh,
when she
that's
does
good. That's very close.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's in Angelo Street. Yep.
in Angelo Street, that's it.
I haven't heard of it.
Is
it
it
inside?
10 or 20 charges, Harold?
It's in the undercover car park.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 or 20 Harold?
10 or 20?
Charges for Tesla. I see Alaska.
No, six. There's going to be 6 superchargers.
Every other
6
country
stalls.
gets 10 and 20. We get 3 and 6.
No, this central Perth location is going to have 6.
Well, that's better than we've been getting. That's good.
And just quickly, Carmen, there's there's a 22 kilowatt at the Pagoda, the resort and spa in South Perth as well.
Oh, yes.
So you can
can't
charge
use that one.
there as well.
Oh, so
walk along
that's
the
not
river.
far.
So getting onto the thumbtacks or the tin tacks of price. So
Yes.
a Poverty Pearl White standard range Model Y drive away no more to pay is $76,763.
And if you
Right.
get the white interior, how much more, Harold?
So if you go for the white interior, it'll cost you $78,360.
If you
Yes,
can
so-
afford it, go for the white. Yay, the whites are all.
The only thing is, as an SUV, there's nothing because it's the X, and the X is expensive, isn't it?
No. But Carmen,
It's not
have you been in a Model Y?
No.
Okay.
Oh, Carmen,
Do
I've
yourself
got
a
one.
favour. No. So go to Aussie Park.
Yeah.
I know it's really hard to park because until they move to Carrington Street, it's just really busy. But if you just go into the showroom, they've got there's 2 cars. They've got the Model 3 and the Model Y side by side.
Yeah.
It is chalk and cheese. It is. Look, Richard Cooper,
Yeah, I've got them both in my garage. 2 blue ones.
tell us just how different those 2 cars are side by side.
Well, they're absolutely identical when you've got them in blue because the colours are the same. They've both got white seats and they're fantastic. One's done 66,000 Ks, the other has done 1,800. No, they're great. There's not much more room in them. You sit in the back, you can, because there's this much gap under the seats, you can just lay out. It's just, and practicality, they're just awesome. And the
Yeah.
boot's bigger, the front's bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
I saw them. She'd probably like it. I didn't like them
The
because
biggest
they
selling
look
car in
big
the
and
world
chunky.
for a good reason.
Well-
They were the best selling car by volume in the world last year. Sorry, by revenue. By volume, they were the 4th best selling car, but in Q1, they were the best selling car by both revenue and volume around the globe. And in May, they were the best selling SUV in Australia
And in
Wow.
China.
and in
Really?
China.
Yeah. So, but the
Well-
thing, Carmen, is
It's a
you
good reason
mentioned
for this.
you mentioned that you didn't like it because it looked a bit chunky.
I
Mhm.
agree
It's
with
funny
you.
because
I like mine. I'm very happy with mine.
yeah, that's cool. That's totally cool. But I don't know if you remember when after the VK Commodore, which was the last of the sort of square sort of
Yeah.
shape, they came out with the VN,
Mhm.
and it looked like it was pregnant. And the Ford did the same with the EA, I think it was. And they both had this. The center of the car was sort of wider than the front and the back, and it looked like it was pregnant. It looked really strange, but that's because our eyes weren't used to it. And then, if you look at it now, they think, oh, that's an old conventional car. So the Model Y, when it first came out, it looks like a squashed Model 3. It looks like a Model 3 that you've
Pregnant
squashed
Model
it,
3.
and it's gone narrower and then taller, like it's out of proportion. But you get used to it on the road very quickly.
Yes.
And to be
You
honest,
can tell the difference in them.
You can.
Carmen, I the only reason I got one is that a mate of mine who's 6'4". I said, go and buy a Tesla. He's looking at it. So we went and test drove them, and I sat in this car and we drove it around. I thought, it's just a Model 3, but it's a bit higher. And I love my Model 3 performance. Anyway, so I was going to sell the Model 3, which I didn't because I couldn't get enough dollars for it. So we've now got both.
Yeah.
And I took a mate out for a drive in the Model Y today, and he could not believe how comfortable and it was magnificent.
I think for taller people, she and I are not tall.
Oh,
but
I'm
for
not
taller
tall either,
people,
Carmen.
everyone says it's much better. Yeah.
I'm 5'6", but once you sit in it, honestly, you can hardly tell it's not a Model 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Literally the seats are the same, the dash is the same, the display is the same. Half the parts are interchangeable, so it's the same car.
Okay.
but the hatchback means you've got a flat back, and the cargo space in the back is flat once you put the little cover on, and it's easy to get things in and out of the boot. If you've got bulky things, you can lay the seats down.
She does carry camping gear and stuff. Yep.
Well, you can
she'll have two extra storage spaces. So she'll have an extra boot. And you know how your Model 3 on the left-hand side, you can put things down the bottom, but on the right-hand side you can't?
Yes.
Well, these compartments are probably 20-30% bigger in the Model Y, but both of them are available as well.
Yes.
And when you sit in your Model Y, you'll have a big brace across the middle of your roof.
Yes.
Model 3.
Yeah, on the Model 3. With the Model Y, you've just got a glass roof that goes all the way from the back, all the way to the front. It doesn't have that beam in the middle. Looks absolutely beautiful.
And the back seats, you can have 60, 40, 60, you can have 40, 40, 20 seats. There's three ways you can put the middle of the seat down and so you can have two passengers and still run some skis up the middle.
Oh, okay.
The other thing is the back seats are electrically adjustable, so you can have them all. And you have three positions you can lean, so you can lean them back a little bit. It's comfort.
Oh, so both seats go forward.
Yep. Well, so if you're late, it's just much more reusable. And there's space under.
In the Model 3, there's only one position that you can have the rear backrest in.
Inclination.
Whereas in the Model Y, you actually have three positions. So you can recline the backrest a little bit on the second row seats as well.
Yeah. Well, I'd be interested to see how the seat belt works, because on the 3, it's not good for me.
It's a different sitting position.
My wife, does it rub on your neck?
Yes.
Do you want me to show you?
Yes.
Very simple mod. Very simple.
Okay.
Took me 10 minutes. I'll go out to the car. I do this every bloody week.
Oh, do you?
Because if it's not right, you modify it. And my wife was rubbing on her neck, and I just put it under my collar, but she doesn't wear a collar. The clergy. So hang on, we're going into the dark, and the light will come on, and I'll open up the.
And there's no problems with delivering the Y at the moment.
No.
You won't need it in the Y. If you've got a problem with the 3.
Oh no, I'm keeping mine. Yeah.
Yeah, but this.
Oh, look at that.
Rubs on your neck. This is a little piece of elastic.
Oh.
Right. So when you put your seat on, it just holds it down about half an inch, and it doesn't rub on your neck anymore.
Let me see where the elastic is.
It's just there.
Oh, okay.
So how did you get in there, Richard? You must have.
This thing just pops out. And there's a little lug just there. I just tied a knot around it on the back and.
Oh, so it's not a loop of elastic. It's a broken elastic, cut elastic. Yes. Yeah.
Works treat.
Okay.
It just holds it down that little bit. See that little bit? It holds it down.
Yes, I know. Yes.
It's always very subtle.
Yeah. I've pushed it down as far as it goes.
Won't get in the way or anything.
Good. Yeah.
Have an accident.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Oh, look, you're flipping hero, Harold. You know that.
Thank you.
My wife just has elastic in her sewing kit. So.
That's good, yeah.
Hey, you know, you can adjust that seat belt.
Yeah, it's
where it
already
comes
down as far as it goes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it does rub a little bit. So it doesn't.
And I do have the seat high up, but if you have it too high, it's too low, the roof.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially with
Cool.
hairdos, some hairdos.
With the Model Y, you'll have much more.
Loads of room. Yeah, no, she'll be happy with that, especially if it's a hatchback. Yeah.
It is. No, absolutely. So I recommend that the two of you go together.
We will. We're
and just-
actually shopping for furniture in Osborne Park on
perfect.
Friday, so we'll go and check it out.
Yeah, just check it out and go through both cars at the same time so you can get like a side-by-side comparison.
Yeah.
And I'm certain that she'll just love the Model Y.
Yeah,
And the great thing
good.
is it's no bigger to drive around. Like, yes, it's I don't know, 5 centimeters wider and a foot longer or something, but it's no real difference when you're driving because you've got all the ultrasonic sensors and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, no,
You'll
that'll be
probably
good.
order two, Carmen.
Yeah. No, I'm happy with mine. But actually, has anyone had any problem with after updates with the navigation system? It comes up. It comes up with a message that says no connectivity.
Yes. Yep, I've had that
Yeah.
occasionally. Yep.
Yeah.
It's it never used to do it nowhere near as much as it does it now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm not sure. And the radio seems to be cutting out
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Much more often than it did before.
I've had the same issue.
In all three cars, so it's not just it must be right across the fleet. But that's Tesla's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So it'll probably be a few months.
It appears as though it's got a mind of its own sometimes. And yes, I've just thought, why on earth? And the navigation comes up with a panel that before you didn't have to put in the address and country and all of that. And it doesn't, the voice recognition is still not good enough.
I find the voice recognition terrific.
You changed it to British English?
No,
Well, change it to British English. It fixes everything.
does it?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's another option to your. If you go into the menu, you can change it from USA English to British English, and it'll
Okay.
recognise the voice.
Okay. Yes, because it's not doing too well at the moment.
Yeah, we'll try that. It's
Yeah,
it's a new
I'll do
option.
that.
So
Yeah.
all these different languages. So
Yeah, that's easy. So that'll be in the menu somewhere.
yeah.
Under display, or is it? No, I think it's display. It's got language.
Ironically, it's still terrible for me.
Why is that?
Don't you speak the Queen's
That is
English
so
or the
funny.
King's English?
Apparently not.
Dearie me.
Can you imagine
something-
Scottish people trying to drive one of these cars? This is just not
Yes.
going to work.
Oh, you're going to make me get that video, aren't you?
They're always
No,
drunk.
no, please, no. What's that? Is that the one in the lift?
Yeah.
Irish or
This is
Scottish. Yeah.
This is what my car did a couple of months ago, where it thought I was 1,000 kilometres south of Perth,
Oh,
and
wow.
it did it for many kilometres.
Ooh.
Where is the nearest supercharger? Underwater.
Yes, so that was just
Sorry.
it. Just hadn't latched onto the internet with satellites and stuff, and it just had no idea.
They're pretty bloody good most of the time, though, aren't they?
They are usually until they're not, and then you got to resort to using a telephone or a mobile or something to do
Like last
navigation.
night, the bloody restaurant was shut, so we just went to Hungary, and it found us a restaurant. We went there. It was great.
Yeah.
Tell me, are there any other car that'll do that?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
What did you ask it for? A restaurant?
Oh, I went to Pinto's last night on my date night with my wife, and it was shut. But she booked it, but it was tonight, not last night. So I just, on the Navigate, you've
Yep.
got recent stuff, and it's got Hungary. So you press Hungary and it comes up with all these restaurants near you.
Really?
We picked one and we went there. It was delightful.
Hungry.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
Hungary.
not
and
as in
so
not,
Lucky
not as
takes-
in the country, but you
No,
feel
no.
hungry.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, it's under Navigate, and there's Hungary and there's Lucky, and Lucky means it'll just take you to a really nice spot that people like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never done that, but I've done the Hungary a couple of times. And there was a there's a Thai
you ever-
restaurant I went to. It's about a kilometre from this house, and I've lived here for 32 years. We never knew it was there, but the car.
If you want to try a nice Japanese restaurant with not sushi or any of that, really gourmet in Shui, Shui, in the new one building opposite the railway station. So it's number 1 Rockaby Road.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a new one building. I
Yep.
went to celebrate a birthday with someone, and I was amazed at the food. And inside is very interesting, very nice.
Cool.
Excellent. Now, for those that were curious about the Scottish and lifts, this is the video. It is very funny.
11.
Oh, come on, play.
Oh, hopefully it won't work.
Oh, there we go.
11.
What's the buttons?
Oh no, they installed voice recognition technology in this lift. I heard about this.
Voice recognition technology in a lift in Scotland. You ever tried voice recognition technology?
No.
They don't do Scottish accents.
11.
Could you please repeat that?
11.
11. 11.
11.
Could you please repeat that?
11.
Whose idea was this? You need to try an American accent. 11. 11.
That sounds Irish, not American.
What, doesn't it? 11.
Where in America is that? Dublin?
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that?
Try an English accent, right? 11. 11.
You for the same part of England as Dick Van Dyke?
Listen, yours then, smart ass.
Please speak slowly and clearly.
Smart ass.
11.
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that?
1-1.
Anyway, and it goes on for another
Well,
few
I
minutes.
did that myself the other day. I had to go to Plaistow Lane. Now, that's a hard word to say. And in the end, I said, Psychic. And it took me there. I
You
had
know,
to
if
pick
it
up a
doesn't get-
kid in the rain.
In all seriousness, if it doesn't get your accent, you can just go PLA and you can spell it out and it'll do it.
Oh,
Oh, you didn't know
that's
that?
a good. No, I've never
Yeah, yeah,
spelled
yeah.
Oh,
it
I
out.
didn't know that.
You can navigate to PLAISTOWE and it'll do it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
No, I haven't tried that one.
You can also just press on the navigate box and then press the right button and then just spell it out. You don't have to say navigate.
Oh, okay. That's a good hint. I'll try it.
So this is why we come on this for and we learn something.
And my calendar is now not syncing, because before it would take you. But I've got home and work is not really work. It's just somewhere that I got regularly.
Or else. Yep.
And now it keeps driving me there, and I forget. And I'm thinking, oh, that's a funny way to go, and then realize that the car's doing it.
Because what happens is it will infer that if you depart home in the
Yes.
morning that you
Yes.
want to go to work.
Yes.
And then if you're anywhere near work or your friend or wherever,
Yeah.
the other place,
Yeah.
and it's the afternoon, it'll
Yeah.
infer that you always want to go home.
Yes.
That's what it does.
Yes, I know. It's a rental actually, and
You
I
can turn it off. You can turn that off. I think.
no.
I'm pretty sure you can turn that automatic favorite navigation off, so
Oh.
it doesn't do it all the time.
Okay, I'll watch it, but kind of handy sometimes. But before I put on all my appointments the address so that the car knows. But at the moment it's not syncing.
So just what you need, it's a stupid iPhone because you change iOS and
Yep.
it's iPhones are just insane. So it's happened to me before and I've had to play with it and it sometimes doesn't work. So what I've done is I've gotten my car to forget my phone. So just tell it in Bluetooth, forget phone, and
Okay.
then start again. And when it first connects, you go into the Bluetooth settings and you'll see there's a button that says sync contacts.
Yes.
And there's also one that says a priority device, but that's less important. And there's sync contacts and something else. There's two things you can do. And when you do sync contacts, it'll say something like, oh, you have to do something on your phone. So you have to go to your phone
Yep.
under its Bluetooth to give, or as a Tesla app, to give the Tesla app permission to use Bluetooth
Yes.
or something
Yes,
to,
it is.
to be
Yeah.
able to sync the contacts. So you've got to sort of do a two-step process. And
Yes.
sometimes you have to enroll the phone twice to get it to sync messages. And once you've done that, it'll do your, oh no, it's sync messages and sync calendar contacts, calendar
Yeah,
entries or
it's the
something.
calendar
Yeah.
that's not doing it. See,
Yeah.
my phone is access connected. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know
just
why it says
just
iPhone 109. I don't know what 109 is, but
in your car
well, it
or
tells me on the Tesla app.
sorry, as a phone key or the Tesla app says what? That your car's got.
It's iPhone in brackets 109.
Oh, you mean under security?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, because it's just the name of your phone. So, for example, mine says Harold's iPhone in brackets 2,
Oh,
close
okay.
bracket. So that's the phone as a key.
Oh,
But no, just so I just recommend just go into your car, tell it to forget your phone.
mhm.
So you just delete the phone, or you can tell your phone to forget your car,
Well, it's
and
easy
then
to disconnect the phone. Just turn off Wi-Fi because
No,
that's
no,
our
it's just
no,
computer.
no, no, no.
Harold's
You've
means
got to tell it to
reset it.
forget. You've got to tell
Oh,
it to forget
okay.
you got to tell your car to forget the phone, or
Okay.
tell your phone to forget your
Car.
car,
Yeah, yeah.
and then once you do that, re-enroll it.
Yes.
And then once you enroll it the first time, you then go into the Bluetooth setting of your car and say sync messages and sync calendar
Calendars.
doodads. And with your messages, it'll then say something, it'll give you a message that says you have to re-enroll the phone or reconnect it. And it may say something like you have to change the setting on your Tesla app to allow it
Okay.
to sync calendar contact and
Yeah.
contacts with Bluetooth. And as long as you tell it to do that in sequence, it should
Yep.
work.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the best way to resolve it because just from time to time it just gets out of whack and it
Well,
just
a
stops
couple of
working.
times I've had to stop on the road, get out, go a few meters up the road, make sure it's gone through the system, then come back as a new, and it fixes itself.
Yeah.
Sell it.
iPhone's
Get a camera.
terrible. No, no, get an Apple. I get an Android phone because Apple phones are terrible with Bluetooth. They're really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just being very picky with power and stuff.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
It's
I've got a
just, yeah.
question. Now I'm a
Yes.
Tesla household. My wife is always complaining that she gets in the car and it comes up Richard, although I've got her phone as priority and all that, and it goes to all my settings. So today I actually got rid of my phone off her car totally to see if it'll, but it's a real pain in the butt and I don't know what's going on.
I presume it's because you mostly drive together, even though she's driving.
Now she
Like
drives
you,
it. I
and
I
but
never drive that car anymore.
no, but you're a passenger, so I presume you'd be a
Occasionally,
passenger
but
with. Oh,
if I would go in that car once a fortnight, but
yep.
the other 13 days it's a problem for her when she gets in on her own. It still comes up with my
Oh,
settings.
it's interesting.
Even though it's her phone getting into her car, it still comes up with Richard. So
Does
today I just got rid of my phone off it and all
oh,
my
okay.
settings.
Does
It's very
she have a
sexy.
separate Tesla account?
No,
And yet, and her phone key is hooked up to her profile.
yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah, see, I must admit, my wife's car is in a separate Tesla account. So
Is that what I should do? I mean, it's no problem to do that, is it?
no, you could actually. Well, you could if you wanted. I don't know. It
Make any difference?
might not make any difference. Look, I'd try and re-enroll yourself. Actually,
Re-enroll her? So I go through the whole
no,
process.
re-enroll you. No, because she's already in. Re-enroll yourself into her car as a phone key. The only
Right.
thing I could think of is what if your phone was in earshot of the car at all times? So when she got to the car, it didn't make any difference because it just thinks she's a passenger. Although if she's a
Oh, yeah.
priority device, it should actually once it hears her phone, it
Should be her.
should
We
be
could
her.
test it. Has she got a photo of you or her on the Tesla app?
No, it'll be him.
Me.
It'll be yeah, because they've got the single account.
Oh.
Look, Richard,
And
you
what
could
about the name of the car?
The name of the car is Model 3 or something. Oh,
Yeah.
blue.
Oh.
It's always
You
been.
you might have
Yeah.
to name them individually.
Well, they are. One's Model Y and the other one's Blue
yeah,
Flag.
one's Model 3.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
Look, you could look. Tesla doesn't care. You could just get her to open up a Tesla account, and then you sell. You go into the car's detail.
No,
and
I
you
like having it all on my thing because I can check the charging and do all that.
No, you can. No, you can. So for example, my wife's car is on her account, and I'll just spotlight for everyone, and that's her car there, and I'm shared as a driver.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually I don't even know how I can say. Well, I'll go to my car instead, and if I go security and drivers,
Yes, I've got
um,
Simon as my driver,
yes.
as an extra, in case I get left somewhere.
So for my car, I've got Rochelle Murphy as a
Okay.
designated driver
Yes.
for my car.
So maybe I'll
And
need to do that. in
and
the
she
Model
has me, sorry, let's get off the spotlight.
Yeah.
And she has me on hers so that we both have control and visibility. So you can see my Model Y, whoops, and her Model Y, and then, my Model X reservation. Which I'm not, they're not going to get rid of it. They're not going to pull it out of my cold, dead hands, is my Model X reservation.
Oh,
They are going to have to delete it.
So I've just gone to my wife's car, and so I haven't added any drivers, so it's just got me.
Oh.
Yes, no, that's because that's okay, because that's still okay, Richard, because yes, you are the Tesla account holder,
Yeah.
and it's in your name and email and all that sort of stuff.
That won't
But the
make any
thing that
difference.
determines the profile is the key.
Yeah.
And her phone is a key, and it's connected to her profile. So as long as your phone wasn't within earshot of her car when she got into it, it should be fine. But if she sets her phone key as a priority,
It is priority device, and it still kept flipping back to mine. So that's why I deleted my profile. Maybe if I put it back in again, it might not.
I think so. Yeah, maybe try that. I'd try that. Yeah, try it.
Thought someone might have.
But for anyone else who's interested in having a 2 Tesla family, and whether or not you have the cars on the same account or a different account, it sort of doesn't matter, because these days, like I've done with my wife's car, we've got 2 separate accounts. We've both shared each other's cars to each other. The only thing I can't do to her car that I can do to mine is I can't buy software upgrades for her car using my app.
Yeah.
But I can. I just need to log in to her account using my app. So I log out of my account on my app on my phone. I log into her account on my app on my phone, and then I can buy whatever I want. I can
Then you're
get
her.
her full self-driving and whatever. But that's the only downside, is you can't, if you're a designated driver on a separate account, you can't buy
Yeah,
software
spend money.
accessories. You can buy parts and stuff through the shop
Yeah,
because
so-
that's really just through your app, but you can't buy something for that car, such as full self-driving or something like that. But you can still do service requests. I just don't think you can see the service history on the other account.
Right. Yeah, I'll
But-
just keep one account. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's really no advantage in having multiple, or disadvantage in having one or multiple accounts. It doesn't really matter.
Right. Okay.
There you go. But yeah, just try and learn yours back in, Richard, and see how it
Yeah,
goes.
see what happens. Okay.
And look,
Well,
and
it says you can add up to 5 drivers.
Well, what does that actually mean if you add a driver? What does it do?
Well, I've put my son in it.
it gives them control. So it gives you visibility. So for instance, I technically am not, I don't have control of, I'm not an account holder of my wife's car, but because I'm a designated driver, I can see where it is at all times. And I can see its status. I can see that it's charged. Oh, you can't see the green line, but and I can stop charging sessions. I can get notifications on when her car has started charging, stopped charging. I can view her
So you
thing
couldn't do that
footage,
at- so my wife-
Sentry footage.
So my wife couldn't do that at the moment on her own app because she's not a designated driver. She's just got her phone driving that car.
You mean for your car?
No, both cars are. I'm the designated driver in both cars. We're
No,
not
you're the designated owner. No, you're just the
Owner,
owner.
yeah.
But when she uses the Tesla
app.
app on her phone, she's
Yeah.
effectively doing it with all the rights you have,
Right.
as if it's you.
Yeah.
But her phone key still provides a difference in the profile,
Right. Yeah, which is what
which
we
is the
want.
window settings. I mean, sorry, the seat
Yeah,
settings
seat
and
settings,
blah de
yeah,
blah.
user
Yeah.
Well, when I was in Europe and I left my car with my daughter, I knew what was happening all the time. I
Yes.
got messages to say the door was open.
Yes.
Yeah, I
That
get that.
she was at a she was charging, how much the charging was, all of that.
Well, I hired a car in Melbourne last week, and I just got the guy to send me the invite to be a driver, so that way I had full visibility of his car. So when I was supercharging, I knew its status, blah blah blah. The only thing that annoyed me was Tesla still aren't. Would it be nice is if you're a designated driver with a Tesla account and a credit card attached to it, when you go supercharging, you should have an option of having the charge go to your account and not the owner's account.
I got all their accounts and I said, look, don't panic. It's only $16, $18.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. But they went to charging Karen up, and I was in Europe, and they tried to pay and they couldn't. But he must have worked it out. My son-in-law is a bit of a guru techie. And the first couple of times I paid, but after that it all got stopped. So I don't know what he did.
Yeah, right. I thought the only way you could do that is change your credit card payment method on your Tesla account, but
Well,
I'm
mine,
not sure.
when I came back, it was all normal.
Yeah, right.
So, but he did something to pay for it. I think he might have done. I think he might have prepaid before he.
Yeah, that's interesting. Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I only got a couple of invoices through the phone, and then after that, when I said, "Oh, look, my credit card is loaded, it'll go to that," he said, "Oh, no, we'll organize it," and he did something.
Unless he possibly went to the other charger in the other side of Karanut, which is not supercharger, it's the EV or Everty or whatever it is,
Oh, okay.
fast DC charger.
Oh, where's
And it's
that?
actually, it's just on the opposite side. So if we just go to Karanut, whoops.
Never seen that.
Yeah, it's so you know how basically the supercharger. Let's just go aerial satellite view might not be very satisfying. Oh yeah. Oh, well, it's out of, it's wrong. Oh no, that's correct. There we go. So it's kind of underground here, at Karanut, and there's another one in the opposite side.
It's It's under the main fashion district near where EB Games are in Karrinyup, or where Taro Cash, the men's stories. It's pretty much directly underneath there.
So is that level 1 or level 2? Or is there only one level parking there?
It's the bottom. No, it's the ground level. It's there's a. I think there's a multi-story car park, which you go upwards. I think this charger is to the left of that, so it's to the single level under the shops, directly under the shops. Whereas the multi-story section is a bit.
When you come in through the entrance, if you look left, you've got green parking. So what you want to do is about 30 or 40 meters in, you want to go right into the yellow section, and then it's on the wall on your left. Yeah, you can't miss it.
Just great for all the mercs and stuff. Question. I'm on security and drivers on my phone. Passive authentication.
Yes.
Manual unlock. What does that mean?
So passive authentication means if your phone key is within earshot of the car, it'll automatically unlock as you approach. So when you get to your car, it'll be unlocked, and when you sit in your car, you can just drive off.
Yeah.
So which is what we're all used to now. If you turn that off, I think you have to actually
use the key.
You have to use the Tesla app to unlock your car to get into it.
Okay.
And I'm not sure about driving off. I think you might have to do something with your Tesla app to tell it to be able to drive.
Okay.
Which means you actively have to consciously do something to the app.
Right.
To
I
do
thought
it.
it was off, but it must have been on. Yeah, cool.
Well,
Yep, go Carmen.
I keep the card in my handbag, and often I go out and not take my handbag, which probably is a bit of a problem if the phone has a problem.
Do you normally keep any cards? Do you carry a purse or a little wallet or something normally? Just put the key card in that.
I have, but I don't always take the bag.
Oh, okay. What
I
about
just
your
take
phone?
the phone.
No. What do you have any credit cards you keep in your phone case?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, just slide it in your phone case.
Yeah, but if she's got the phone, she's got the credit card. If she hasn't got the phone, she hasn't got the key card.
No. Well, no, because Carmen was putting it in her purse or in her handbag.
No.
The key
I
card.
carry the phone and I use the Tesla app. And because it works perfectly, I don't carry my handbag, which has the card.
Yes. So what I'm saying
I leave that in the car.
Yeah.
Is that a problem? Is that a safety issue?
No, not really.
You got pin to drive. It's not.
No.
But
If someone breaks in the
up,
car, if they break into the car, smash into the car, get your purse, get the key card, know what to do with it, they can then drive off.
But then you can follow them on your app, so it's not.
You can, yeah. Like George Kyrgios did. What's his name? Kyrgios.
Oh yes, I heard about that.
But what you could do, Carmen, is just if you've got other cards in your phone cover, then just slip your Tesla card in that, so you know that wherever your phone is, which is normally where you are, you'll have it with you.
I know. And then if you lose your phone, you lose your card.
Yeah, but if you lose your phone, you lose your life anyway, because phones.
Yes, that's true.
People are dependent on
That
phones.
is true.
And don't forget, it can happen. In fact, this happened to me in the early days of when Karrinyup opened. I got my wife's Model S. She was working in a medical centre at the opposite end of Karrinyup shops, at the east end of where and the superchargers at the west end. And that's a long distance. That's probably, I don't know, 600 metres it's a full length of Karrinyup shops anyway. So I walked to get her car, and I was too lazy to get her remote. So what I did was I just jumped in her car with my phone with the app as the key, because this is a Model S, so it doesn't have a phone key. You just get the app to go drive, unlock and drive. So I unlocked, drove, got to Karrinyup where the superchargers are. I was in the driveway bit, before turning into the supercharger.
Yep.
And I saw a guy struggling to disconnect his car on the free Type 2 charger.
Yes.
So I just jumped out of my wife's car, closed the door, said to him, hey, mate, you just do this and that and whatever.
Yeah.
I then went to go back into my wife's car and it was locked.
Oh.
And of course, we know what the mobile phone communications is
There
like
is none.
on the where Carrinup is. There is zero. So I then opened the app. I already knew it wouldn't work, but I opened the app, told it to unlock, and there was no response. And there were cars, you know, Carrinup's busy, and my car was right in the middle of the lane of the road.
Yeah.
So I had to bolt, I had to run all the way across Carrinup to the east end of it to go to my wife's work,
To get the
grab
key.
her remote, run back. So I probably covered 1.2 Ks jogging, running, and wheezing, and got back to the car with her fob to unlock it. So, so I'd always recommend to anyone, always have a key card just in case. I mean,
The
Model
only
3s and Ys,
thing-
not so important because your phone becomes the key and that is usually
Yeah.
pretty reliable,
But see
but you
this,
never know.
there is a ring on it to charge,
It's a MagSafe.
to
Yeah.
make contact with the charger. So if you put a key at the back, it might stop the charging.
Oh, yeah. So you don't, so when you don't have a purse with you and just have your phone, you don't
That's all
have
I
credit
use.
cards. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, yeah. Because you use Apple Pay. Yeah.
Apple Pay.
Have you got
Yeah,
an Apple
gotcha.
I
Watch?
don't take a bag anymore.
Have you got an
No.
Apple Watch, Carmen?
Yes.
Well, you can set that up as your key because I've done it on one of the apps, Watch for Tesla or something, and that can be your key. It's a backup key.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Yes,
well,
you can.
I'm having a problem. I'm not happy with the Apple Watch, and I am discussing it with Apple, and I refuse to collect it. And we have a standoff at the moment. They
You're
won't-
amazing.
Well, I only had it for a week. I dropped it, and a little corner has a little crack. And I said, well, I'm sorry, this is a sports phone. I want it replaced. This has to be a little bit tougher than this, and it's brand new. And they said, no, I have to pay. And I said, no, I'm not paying. So I've left it there, but they say they will keep it for 6 months. And if it's not collected, they'll just throw it out.
Yeah, I can
I
understand.
wrote to
that.
Consumer Protection.
Carmen, you dropped the bloody thing. What are you on about?
Yeah, but it's a sports watch.
Yeah,
I've
it's all right.
dropped my
I've
phone
got a
many
model.
times.
I've got a Model 3 Performance, and I ran into a brick wall and it got smashed up. But it's a sports car. Doesn't make sense.
No, but well, I've had a Fitbit before for 5 years, and it never had a problem. And
Did you
this
drop
was
it?
with it. Sorry.
Did you drop the Fitbit?
Yeah. It's just when you put it on, it's a bit tricky. And it fell in my bathroom. It wasn't on the road or anything. It's a weird accident, and they're very expensive.
That's
They're
like
not.
saying I got a nail in my tire and I want a new tire. Come on.
Yes, but it's new, under warranty, and I think it's faulty, and it's not designed for the purpose it's meant to be, because it's a sports watch. You can knock it on anything when you have
My
it on
Apple
your
Watch isn't a
wrist.
sports watch. It's just a watch. Where does it say it's a sports watch?
I think it's designed because it's designed to measure your activity.
Oh yeah, like running and bike
Yeah.
riding and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And
it's designed for that.
and wood chopping.
Yeah. And
I
house,
think you're
house
barking on
cleaning,
that.
gardening.
Good luck, Carmen. You
No,
dropped
I'm not getting anywhere.
it. You're not
No.
going.
Apple's market capitalization is
Well, I fortunately I have Apple.
$2.888 trillion.
Yes.
So,
And I do have shares, and I've done very well. But I'm not very happy about the watch. It's $500. You can get a Fitbit like that for 120. It should do better than that.
Well,
Carmen, here's a story.
When I was at dentist, and you've got a beautiful new crown in the front, and you went out and some guy mugged you and smashed out your front tooth. You say, but your crown didn't work. It was meant to be strong. Yeah, well they are, but not to someone's fist.
Carmen, I had a nice Breitling B2, which was
Yeah, I know.
bought
it's
it
they're
10 years
very
ago. It
expensive,
was,
Yep.
oh, it's
I
even
know
more
it now.
expensive now, but it cost me about 3.5 grand.
Yeah.
And I had it sitting on my bathroom bench,
Yes.
and I'd taken it off. I can't remember why, maybe to have a shower, or there was a reason. I don't know. I usually do shower with it, but I had it off. It was sitting on the kitchen, on the bathroom bench, and I must have just tapped it, and it just gently fell onto the tiled floor
Yep.
and
That's
cracked.
what happened.
And it
Yep.
cracked the LCD,
There's
one of the
sapphire
LCD
glass.
displays, and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
oh man, that's 3.5 grand, and it's wrecked.
Yes.
Um,
I think it's a bit poor. But anyway, the other thing that happened was I had a problem with my computer. So I've got every Apple product. So I rang up Apple to help me with the product, and they did. But you know how they always have a, they ask if you could stay on the line and give them feedback about their service. Since I've had the problem with the phone, they don't ask me to give them feedback for the service. And I said, so it's amazing, different products, but the same company. And I'm no longer required to give a feedback.
what are you showing us here, Pete?
Apple
So
Watch
what's that say?
compared to Fitbit.
Installed base of active users.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's more
Apple's
popular. We
winning.
know that.
Yes. I must admit, I mean, I've obviously got an Apple Watch, but I'd love to. My middle boy, I got him a Breitling when they were cheaper,
Yeah.
and he loves it. He
Yeah.
wears it all the time because it's
yeah.
sort of cooler than
Yeah.
wearing just a shitty
Yeah.
Apple Watch.
Yeah.
But I can't do it to myself. I'm just addicted to the texts
Functions,
and all that stuff. And,
Yeah, I think they need to do something about that sapphire glass.
You should have got one with the rubber glass, see-through rubber lens glass.
Oh, well,
dear.
I might have to go. I've got
Mine's
till
got
October to
scratches
collect
and
it.
welding splatter and all sorts over it. I'm not taking it back to get a warranty job on it.
No. Now, speaking of watches,
What about the Tesla watch?
It will be 11, 6, and 30 seconds.
Oh, Pete, it's your time.
It's 1 second too late. Oh, that might be the internet.
so it is getting on a bit. Unless we've got any last drinks, I think we've covered most things.
We're down 0.229%.
It might be our first down day after 13 or 14 days. So
No,
and
give
that's
it time.
okay.
It'll be back. It'll be back.
Tesla's all-time high was approximately $430.
Yeah, there's a ways to go, yeah.
So it has got a fair bit of way to go before it gets to where it was.
Mine's up 0.85. It's just changed, 257.99.
Yeah, it's just wavering.
$414.50.
It's just teetering.
$414.50 was the top.
That's it. All right. I think that's last drinks. Hey, Pete, how would you take out an awesome show like this?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy.
Oh, that's so smooth.
Fabulous.
Well done,
Very
boys.
nice.
Have
And
a
thank you for all the info, guys, all the gurus.
Hey, I hope your sister enjoys a Model Y.
Yes, I will do that this weekend. Yep.
Hope you enjoy
Very
your
good.
new one, Carmen.
We expect to record next week.
have an
We can have a
awesome
watch.
awesome week, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
See you guys. Cheers.